Oh, hey guys! PIEGUYRULZ here, and welcome to the special 20th episode, Christmas episode of the Recast. I am joined, as always, by the guy who doesn't like Christmas as much as I do, Grinchy Reviews.
I'm a reindeer.
We are also joined this week by recurring guest, the edgiest Christmas character of them all, Shadow Skellington.
Hey, how's it going?
And in a surprise plot twist, we are also joined by the eternally happy elf, Buddyconroy.
We're always in our wrong podcast, sorry.
So the first thing we have to address, the one week we announced the guests in next week's episode, like, right, Monsters? We haven't done that in weeks.
Right. Yeah, we've just said, like, with a guest, or we don't even say, like, we don't even mention guest.
Yeah, sometimes we don't even know if we got a guest planned for the next
Right.
one, so we don't mention it. And even when we do have a guest planned, we don't like to say it because we don't want to, like, if our guest can't make it or, you know, whatever happens, we don't want to hype people up or make people feel like, you know, like the guest did something wrong by us or something like that. Like, we don't want to put our guests in that situation.
Right.
And especially when we have a fill-in guest. But like Shadow and Kerr they're our good friends. You know, we hang out with them a lot on Discord, and we know they're trustworthy. And when they say they're going to be here, they're going to be here. Unfortunately, a few hours before recording, Kerr got really sick. So, you know, we hope he's feeling well. I know you're listening to this, Kerr. I know you listen to the podcast.
Hashtag get well, Kuro.
Yep, this is dedicated to you. We hope you're feeling better, especially by the time this comes out. No, don't say that, dude. No, don't start the Christmas episode on a dark note. But the bright spot in all of this is that the only guy I know who I can message at like 6 o'clock, like, hey, dude, we're gonna record at like 10:30 tonight, and you know, you got to watch these 3 SpongeBob episodes, and our guest, you know, couldn't make it because he's sick. Would you mind, like, filling in? The only guy I know that would actually be like, oh, yeah, sure. Chuggaaconroy. Thank you, dude.
No, thank you for inviting me. I actually had, I guess I shouldn't spoil my opinions on this, though, but I did have to watch at least some of this for the first time tonight, and I'd been meaning to for a long time, and this finally gave me a good excuse to check out a certain one.
Yep, you heard it here first. Chuggaaconroy has never seen Christmas Who.
Christmas what? No.
Shadow, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. College just finished for me, so I'm finally getting to just relax, and I've spent most of my time doing nothing but playing Smash, so...
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
It's been a good time.
Cool. Monsters, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. My sleeping schedule is pretty messed up right now. I went to bed at 8 a.m. and woke up at 3 p.m., so I got that going for me. But, you know, I'm hanging in there.
And Chugga?
I'm pretty good. I started personal training a couple weeks ago, and I had a session this evening before you messaged me, so I'm in a lot of pain, but the good kind.
Like real training or like We Fit?
No, actually, having a personal trainer. I
Really?
thought you were going to go for, like, the Pokemon gym joke, personally.
Yeah.
Who you got, Gary?
Oh, goodness. No, he's got Joey with the shorts. That's cool, dude. I love how the other 2 guests are like, yeah, college, and playing Smash Bros, and you're like, yeah, man, getting fit. You got your life together.
I haven't had a lot of time for Smash Brothers, honestly. Like, just so many like things have needed my attention between the holidays and between getting videos done.
I remember, I hope this isn't like too revealing, but I remember when we talked a while ago, you mentioned that you weren't like the biggest fan of Smash Brothers, and you talked about it like it was like a dirty thing to have that opinion.
It's not that I dislike it. Okay,
I didn't say that. I didn't say you disliked it.
When I say that, I mean, I wasn't that into 4 because I felt like 4 had a really, really poor single player where it was not fun, incredibly tedious. The challenge list was stuff like, beat 21 rounds in crazy orders as Duck Hunt on intensity 7.0 while swimming up a waterfall. It was stuff like that.
That's easy.
It was so specific and like not fun or anything anyone want to do. There's like, get exactly 1,337 feet as Rob in the home run contest. And it's like, what are these challenges? I didn't find the single player fun to play. I didn't think that it prepared you for actual fights very well. I didn't think that the information was readily there.
Well, don't forget the mess with special moves and how you have to like, and how you unlock them and in how you buy them and in how like you don't unlock them by playing online and like there's all.
Oh yeah. Unlocking all the custom moves in 4 was a nightmare. I only know one guy who actually did it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Nate, Nathaniel Bandy, who he said he wanted to do it. I don't know if he ever made it. He might have made it.
I don't know.
But yeah, dude, I played a ton of Smash 4 and I didn't even get close.
Yeah, no, I actually 100%ed the single player in the 3DS version. I didn't bother in the Wii U one. I gave up after maybe 5 days. It was just not fun. And yeah, I wasn't really a fan of how if you didn't have people to play with, then there wasn't really anything fun to do other than that. And this is somebody who thinks even Melee is a fine single player game.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Adventure mode is, Adventure mode is good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Ultimate's a lot better, though, but I haven't really had a chance to, play it, though. But, yeah, sorry. I'm diverting the topic.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so I'm doing all right. Thank you for remembering monsters, even though you snubbed our guest. No, I'm doing good. Yeah, we wanted to, last week, I think I even mentioned that we'll talk about Smash later, and we didn't get to it because we spent an hour talking about Sonic. But this week... Yeah. This week, we're also going to break something that last week we said we were going to talk about. Since Chugga has not seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, we're going to wait to talk about that next week, possibly the week after. We'll have Shadow back on, and we'll be able to talk about it then in depth. We'll do a spoiler thing because I've seen it twice, and I highly recommend it, but I don't... It's not the kind of movie I really want to talk about without going into spoilers. And I don't want to, but it'll be good because by then, everyone will have seen it, in a week or two.
Right.
I've ruined everything.
No, you're totally good. So instead of that, let's talk about Smash Ultimate for a little bit.
Okay.
I also like to remind our audience, we do have links in the description to skip ahead if you're not interested in video games.
Because there's 3 links in the game, so there's links.
It's funny you say that about the single player in Smash 4 because that's my biggest issue with Smash Ultimate. I got it at midnight. I drove 40 minutes to the Best Buy that had a midnight release. I got the game. I'm I'm going to play this till the break of dawn. I played it for 2 hours and then I switched to Batman. No, seriously, because first of all, the rest of you bums, you weren't around to play with me. Y'all were sleeping. The one night you guys weren't staying up till ridiculous hours. No, but since none of my other friends were up, I was doing single player stuff and Spirits is okay. I don't hate it. It's certainly better than
Smash Tour?
Smash Tour,
Yeah,
yes. Anything is better than Smash Tour. Oh my goodness. But Spirits is not, in my opinion, the kind of thing you can play for an hour straight even. It's the kind of thing that you pop in, you do a few rounds, and then you're all right, well, Bayonetta's spamming her side B 1,000,008 times. This is fun. Take the most broken character and give her the most obnoxious move. Oh, and by the way, it's a stamina battle, so you can't wait her out. So I wasn't thrilled with that. And then the characters, now apparently you can unlock certain characters by playing as certain characters in classic mode, but the game doesn't tell you this. So I was just playing random games and unlocking random characters. It took me until it was character unlock 63 that I got Toon Link, who was my main in Smash 4 and I wanted to play against, only to find out that they made his side smash terrible. So young Link it is. But that's kind of one of the frustrations, is that you pop the game in and you don't get any new characters to play with. You get the 8 characters that have literally been in the franchise the longest.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been ranting. I mean, what do you guys think?
I totally get what they were going for by having the original N64 roster as a callback. But I think that the fact that you have to unlock so many characters, it certainly takes a while. I think now I played the game and I got all the characters within the first 48 hours, but I sunk maybe 20 hours of those 48 into the game because I was just playing it that much, which is why I was able to get it so fast. But yeah, I agree with you that World of Light, is it's okay. it's not the best. I'd still rather go back and play Subspace, even though Subspace has its flaws.
Well, at least Subspace has a co-op mode.
Yeah, that's also true. That was something that caught me by surprise, that there isn't a second player option. But also with World of Light, it's I also agree that it should probably be played in like just small spurts, because I feel like if you were to
Spirits?
Yeah, Spirits, World of Light, yes, yeah. I see what you did there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be played in small spurts, because like I've been doing like maybe a couple matches, and then I'd leave and go do something online or classic mode, and then I'd come back, just because I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to feel like it's dragging on for too long.
And it's not, and that's also not a good way to unlock characters at all. You'll take forever to unlock like more than 1 or 2 characters, and you're stuck playing as a small selection of characters in that mode. So if you're not good with like the 4 that you get at the start,
yeah, I just happen to get lucky that Mario, Yoshi, and Captain Falcon are 3 of my main characters. So
yep. I do want to also say before, just that like, my criticisms are with like the single player content, and especially the content at launch. Like once I've unlocked the characters and I'm almost done with that, it's not really a problem anymore. And like, I love the game, like the actual Smash mechanics, the new characters. Like I think that's all fantastic. Like I love this game. I know I came on strong with like the negative part of it. It's just because what sucks about it is that I feel like there's like a lot of issues with Smash Ultimate, but no one's going to talk about that, and no one's going to review the game negatively, because at its core, the actual like the battling, the multiplayer battling locally or online is just fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly say this is going to be my favorite Smash game, just from the gameplay alone. I know you and I have definitely, when we were playing online a few days ago, we've had our complaints about how the menus are kind of set up with certain things, and
I mean, like one of the cool things is you're able to make presets, like preset rooms, and like that's an amazing quality of life like improvement. One of the negative things is you can't change the stage selection once you're in it. You can't I have it set to random with certain stages, only because if you don't do that, then the amount of time it takes for everyone to select a stage and a character and then get in, it's like a lot of time between matches. That's kind of annoying, because it has to load both the character selection screen and the map, like the map screen. Like there was Shadow, me and you were getting Port Town Aerodive?
Big Blue. Over
Dude,
and over and over and over again. It was insane.
We just wanted to turn it off. I had 40 stages in it like on, and we got it like 6 times in that night, and we just wanted to turn it off. But to do that, you have to exit out of the lobby, change the rule set, and then get back in, and then have the other person join. And it's just kind of like, why is it like that?
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with the online, besides that, is also the way quick play works. Like I like the way they had like a for fun and a for glory mode. Now it's just kind of like you have a prefer rules, and it'll just like kind of try to pair you with other players who have the same rule set. But even then, it doesn't always work. And so like you might have like a 5-minute stock match, no items, final destination only, and you'll end up on a stage hazards on, final smash meter on, all items, that kind of match. And it's like, well, I wasn't even trying to find this. So
and that doesn't just affect like the competitive people, it affects everyone, because like let's listen, they did what they could with the online, but if you have 4 people, chances are someone's gonna lag, especially if it's just random people. And so you could want 1v1, not because you're like some competitive guy. You could just want it because you know that there's a higher chance you'll actually just get a good match, but you could still get stuck with a 4-player match.
Yeah, and the other way around too. And the unfortunate thing is that, as far as I'm aware, that's the only way. Like the only way to get Elite Smash is to essentially just, wait it out. Just keep playing quick play over and over and over again. Grind through it in order to unlock that special feature. So
yeah,
it's kind of unfortunate.
Monsters and Chugga, you've been quiet.
I've been a little bit quiet because I've only actually used the online one time, so I don't think I'm a really good authority on how that works. But
Oh, look at Chugga having local friends. Sorry.
If it works the way you said it does, though, I'm guessing that the idea is that you just have to kind of roll with the punches and do whatever rule said and just keep winning to get Elite Smash, and that's what they were going for?
Yeah, that's basically how it works. You just kind of have to grind it out.
Monsters, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I also haven't tried the online feature yet, but this game was pretty much the sole reason why I bought a Switch. I bought a Switch, and I have this game, and then I have Wolfenstein, which I've barely touched. I haven't even started playing it yet. But a few weeks ago on the recast, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get Smash on release day. I'm probably only going to get a couple hours in this weekend because I'm really, really busy. And I was really busy, but the truth of the matter was I ended up by putting like 13 hours into World of Light. And then
really?
I procrastinated on all of my other stuff. Yeah, so I have most of the map unlocked.
So you hardcore played World of Light, and
yeah, I enjoy, and that's how I unlock the majority of my characters. Like sometimes when you're exiting World of Light mode, you get the the Challenger approaching thing. One of my friends like straight up just kept playing Challenger, or is that what it is? Challenger mode on repeat.
The gate
Challenger's approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, World of Light's pretty fun. I think the reason why I liked it is because it posed a challenge to me. And believe it or not, I really like the way, I know like the purest approach is to play it with a GameCube controller, and my first Smash game was Melee. I have played all five Smash games.
All six technically. But
Yeah.
But like the last one I personally owned was Melee on my GameCube. So playing these with the Joy-Con grip was refreshing, and I actually liked it more than I thought I would. However, I did play with 3 of my other friends using like the singular Joy-Cons like placed horizontally, and I hate it so much. It's awful.
Hand cramping.
I actually did that last night when I watched Spider-Verse for the second time. Me and my cousin, we put the Switch between 2 seats in front of us, and we each took a Joy-Con. And yeah, no, it's not the preferred way to play, but like for that sort of situation where we played 2 matches before the previews came on, it was all right. Like, and I think that's the idea, is that like,
right,
you don't want to be playing for like an hour with that, but like
you get used to it. But it's not ideal.
No.
I will say that I also did notice, like, I don't know if you'd consider this a glitch or just like odd mechanics, but during one of the World of Light matches, I was facing up against Bayonetta on, I think the stage is called Great Bay, the one with like the giant turtle and the guy that floats on the balloon.
Tingle.
Yeah, Tingle. and I was like Kirby or something, and I was up on top of the deck, and Bayonetta was like all the way like in the lower left corner of the stage, and she kept jumping to try to get up, and I didn't move for maybe 2 minutes, and I even took a video of my TV screen, but like but she was just stuck there, and she kept looping in circles.
Huh. Maybe that was the point of the match?
I've heard well, once I moved, she came up, and then she tried fighting again. So
yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to be too down on it. But I guess just like the other thing is, I don't have local friends that play Smash Bros. For the most part, so I play online a lot, and it just kind of stinks that like things like Smash Down, the one where you play as a character and then they die and you play as another character. That is such a cool mechanic. I'll never be able to use it because I don't, it's not available online. Stage Morph, I'll never be able to use it. Not available online.
Squad Strike 2.
Yep. Amiibo support. Like, there's just a lot of things that I feel like, okay, Smash isn't like really a single player game, and I'm fine with, World of Light being World of Light. Like, it's okay. And there's still classic mode, a few other things. They took out the trophies, which kind of disincentivizes me to kind of poke around with a lot of things like I like to do in the past. But like, I would be fine with that if they put more of an effort into bringing as much as they could online, and they didn't. It's about as much features as Smash 4. Although like certain things like Stage Builder has just been removed entirely.
No more Target Smash, no more Home Run Contest. Those are both gone.
Nope. And instead of it, like in classic mode, you get the same bonus stage every time.
That was something that I kind of wish they'd bring back from Melee, how every character had a different target smash layout that was like catered to their capabilities with moves and movement. If they had done that with the bonus stage, I think that would have been really cool. I think that is a missed opportunity.
I think it would have just been too much extra development time that they could have been spending on the versus mode and whatnot.
Yeah. That is probably true. I do like
because we're up to like
classic
80
mode.
characters now.
Yeah, that's insane. I do like classic mode other than that, though, because I really like how they've catered it to every specific character.
Yeah,
and
that's
they kind
cool.
of like align it to a theme.
Well, I like that too with World of Light and how like each stage is kind of designed around the spirit that you're trying to obtain from it.
I was going to say, that's what I like about World of Light a lot, too, though. The fact that I think sometimes even more fun than the actual fight is seeing, okay, well, this is wheezing. How is this going to work? And then you read the list of rules, and it's just like, oh, well, you're playing as Wario, only using his fart attack inside of a poison cloud.
Chugga, I won't spoil it for you. I don't even know the full details myself, but there is a stage where you fight Ness's dad.
I know that one, and it's hilarious. It's so funny what the rules are for that.
Also, Chugga, the very first fight being a Pikmin fight is more love than Nintendo has ever given to Pikmin in the past, like, 4 years, 5 years.
I mean, I don't think Hey Pikmin's that bad. I wouldn't say it's
that's
great,
true. That's true.
But it's all right.
But it's just like, man, I really want my Pikmin fix. And that gave me something, at least.
I mean, it was relaxing and had good atmosphere. But yeah, no,
and it's a Smoky Prog too, I think, too, which is like that's not the reference you would have expected Nintendo to make for Pikmin.
Yeah,
like,
Smoky Prog does Mario.
Yeah.
But no, I like World of Light. Fighting Random Spirits, I agree, does get a little bit old after a while, though, but if you just do it little by little, I think that's fine. I think World of Light being more organized and just kind of going around looking for characters and trying them out, I think that's where a lot of the fun of that comes from. And I agree with the praise on Classic Mode, how it's tailored to every character and just making it really interesting, especially how you have different bosses at the end, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One... because apparently I'm determined to be a downer for Smash Ultimate. Even though I love it. No. This is I mean, this is kind of small, but it's important. That's a pun. The character selection screen.
Oh, how tiny every icon is.
It's not no, I understand that. It's just how they're grouped because, well, first of all, as you're unlocking characters, part of the challenge in unlocking characters, if you're gonna grind it like I grinded, is trying to find your character again after another character has been unlocked because they move like crazy.
It's one of those things where, like, with the number of characters you get and how you can unlock any character after any other character, technically, I can see how it'd be really hard for them to organize that for every single possible layout, though. But once you unlock all the characters, it makes a lot of sense. Like, the layout's good after you have everyone.
Does it though? Because, well, I'm still missing Bowser Jr., so maybe everything will pop into place.
Yeah, it will. Like, all the Mario characters are with the Mario characters. All the Mario spin-offs are around them. You know, it doesn't look like it when you're missing one character, but when you get all of them, they slot into place pretty nicely.
Huh. Because to me, it looked like they were grouped based upon when they were added into Smash, except the Echo Fighters, which were right next to each other, the originals, which makes things extra confusing.
I think you can put the Echo Fighters away into folders, essentially, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, you can stack them on the same icon, so like you can just flip back and forth between them rather than having them next to each other. Yeah, I think if you just go into settings, you can change that.
But of course, everyone wants their selection screen to look super impressive, and whoa, look at all these guys!
Everyone is here.
Yes.
But no, I love the Splatoon character. I think Inkling is amazing. Like, super fun to play.
I'm no good at Inkling, and it's frustrating because everybody kicks my butt with Inkling, and I'm just all like, I want to be good at this too.
You're not alone. I'm the same way.
No, I just don't get what I'm really supposed to even do with Inkling, though. But
bombs, always bombs.
Really? Because I've tried the bomb a bunch of times, and it's only ever hit somebody once and did like 4 damage, and I'm just like, wow, that was a letdown.
Really? Because it's context sensitive for how long you hold the joystick down.
I guess
or the B button down.
That's like the throwing arc, though, right?
Well, yeah, if you do it, just like tap it, it'll go like right in front of you. If you hold it, it'll go pretty far in front of you.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll just
that helps big time.
If I'm gonna have any hot take in this video about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'll balance you out a little bit so you're not the only negative Nancy.
Thank you.
And this is just a me thing, so I fully admit that I could understand other people liking this. I did not get any real excitement out of the new characters that were announced.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I liked Ken, and I think that was it.
Yeah, like I actually like have the list pulled up because I just wanted to like confirm that to myself though. But like out of all the new characters, I was I wanted Inkling, but I knew before the game was even announced that there was a 145% chance that Inkling was going to be the first character announced in it. So it wasn't surprising. It was just like, okay, yep, there it is.
You weren't one of those ARMS holdouts?
Nah, I
was going to be an ARMS character in this game. I mean, there is an assist
trophy, yeah.
Yeah, that's where it belongs. That's the proper place.
Ridley, now that the game's out, I don't think they did a bad job with Ridley, but I was personally of the belief that Ridley wasn't fit to be in the series like Sakurai had been saying for years. So when they announced him, I was just like, oh, I'm surprised they went for it. And then Daisy was just kind of, oh, cool. Dark Samus, I've never played a game that she's in. Simon and Richter, I've never played a game that they're in. I've played other Castlevanias, but never one with them in it, so they meant nothing to me. King K. Rool I have no attachment to. I like Isabelle as a character, but I wasn't asking for her to be in a fighting game. And then I actively dislike Street Fighter, so Ken did nothing for me. And then I actively dislike Incineroar as a character, so he did nothing for me.
Yeah. Well, but hang on. Is this including or excluding Piranha Plant?
Hold on.
Okay.
I've never played a Persona game, so I have no clue who Joker is or what he does, so he also did nothing for me. But it was one of those announcements where I'm like, oh, I bet that's really exciting for people who know who he is.
Yes, no, exactly. I know diehard fans of Persona that were like freaking out, but I also know people who know absolutely nothing about Persona that are just like, who is this guy and why is he in Smash?
I mean, I'm sure he's great. I couldn't tell you one ability that he has or anything that would make him interesting in a fighting game, but I'm sure he's cool if a lot of people like him. But I can honestly say that out of every character they announced, Piranha Plant was the only announcement that made me freak out and get really happy.
yes. Yeah. No, I'm see, like I like the new character. Like, they're not my characters. Like, I have fun playing as them. I like the Splatoon character. I do genuinely like playing as the Inkling, and Isabelle's been pretty fun for me as well. All the rest of them, like, I don't think they're bad mechanically. They're just not necessarily my characters. Like, so I kind of feel you. Like, I didn't get that super hype for anything other than the Piranha Plant, because the Piranha Plant looks like the Piranha Plant's the wild card. There's always a wild card, and they kind of forgot to put the wild card in this one. So the Piranha Plant's the wild card.
I like the little nubby feet he has underneath his pod.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, but I'm definitely with you on Incineroar. I don't know why did they pick him?
Well, I mean, there wasn't like a big like muscular wrestler type guy in the cast yet, so he is unique.
Ryu,
and
kinda.
I guess there's me
not
gonna
lie
and not knowing anything about
I didn't know who Incineroar was before he was announced for Smash, because I haven't paid attention to Pokemon since like Sinnoh.
Oh wow.
Since Kuro's not here, I'll say that I'm pretty sure he's a Ben 10 character.
My thing with Incineroar is that I think Litten's really cute. I think Torracat looks cool though, but Incineroar just takes a complete left turn from two Pokemon that I liked, and I'm just like, what happened to you?
Chugga, how would you feel about an Echo Fighter for Pokemon Trainer that was like Sinnoh Pokemon Trainer?
That could be kind of interesting. The thing is that Pokemon Trainer itself, I think, is switching between the three. Not a lot of people actually do that is the thing. So I don't know if it's an Echo Fighter that people are begging for, but I guess the idea does have a lot of potential at least. I think the fact that Ivysaur is a playable character proves they could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you pick of the Alolan, well, not the Alolan Kanto Pokemon, but just of the Alolan Pokemon? Who would you have picked?
Let's
Capilele?
see. Out of all the Alolan Pokemon, I thought Decidueye had potential. I know that I'm kind of cheating a little bit because he was already in Pokken. Who else could I have chosen?
Cosmog.
Cosmog. His down smash is a counter where he gets in the bag and then pops back out.
No, it's Cosmog and whatever her name was. The girl that carries him around. Lily? Yeah. Cosmog and Lily as a dual fighter.
I'm taking a look at a list to kind of refresh memory a little bit. I can tell you it wouldn't be Gumshoes. Let's see. Who else?
What about
Hello and
Inkay?
Buck.
Or no, Inkay. Wait, is Inkay Gen 6?
Inkay is Kalos.
Oops. I'm forever gonna confuse those two regions.
No, like that's not your fault because the Kalos Dex is probably the most underutilized characters in the entire franchise, where so many of them have only ever been in that one game. And on top of that, there were only 70 of them to begin with.
And also, what is it, like X and Y and Sun and Moon came out relatively close to each other compared to all these others that had like sequel game in there. And
well, we
remake.
had Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Right, but we only had those, not those and remake and third version.
I remember my mind being blown on this, that the length of a Pokemon generation really hasn't gotten shorter over time. It's just us getting older and time moving faster, and that really surprised me. I guess if I wanted to be unique, I could say, I know that this comes with some certain connotations, but I've noticed that a distinct lack of a character type in Super Smash Bros. Is a character who primarily uses their feet, and I guess Serena would be able to do that. Because she has all these kicking attacks.
I'm sorry, who'd you say?
Serena. She's the grass type final evolution of Bounce Sweet.
Oh man, yeah, that makes sense.
Huh.
I've actually kind of nominated Duster for that a few times, where I've said that he'd be an interesting. Duster's from Mother 3. He primarily fights using kicks.
I could see it. But knowing Smash, they put Blaziken in.
Yeah, right.
With his great big old like Chinese dragon parade still legs.
All right. Well, you guys have anything else to say about Smash?
I guess not.
I don't think so.
Dead silence. Okay. All right. So we're a cartoon podcast. Let's move on. So Mr. Streakington, have you seen anything in the past week? Bonus points if it's Christmas related.
Geez. Well, if it's Christmas related,
Negative points if it's Halloween related.
Okay, no, okay. I've every year I have this tradition of watching the movie Elf. I know it's not really a cartoon at all, but it's technically it has animation in it with the puppets, right? So that counts. Yeah. No, I watch Elf every year for Christmas. That's kind of like a holiday tradition. And then I also went back and rewatched Star Wars The Last Jedi again after like a year, just because I wanted to see if my thoughts had changed. Because I know that's like a really controversial movie, right?
Oh,
Yes,
man.
it is.
Pie Guy talking smack about Smash, and now we're going to talk about like the most controversial film well, probably not that, but most polarizing film, I guess. What do you think of Last Jedi?
Personally, I think that there's a lot of moments that looking back, like at first I didn't like, and now I'm like, it's actually not that bad. And there's still things that I'm like, come on, like really, this is happening? Like, for example, one of the things that I didn't like at first was how I'm assuming everyone's seen the film at this point. It's grossed like what, 1.5 billion?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Snoke getting killed, at first I was kind of like, they didn't really, explain him that much. But now that I think about it, it's like, I never really cared about him to begin with. Because in episode 7, he was just kind of there to be like, go do this. And that was it. And then in 8, he's just like, I'm your master. And because it's really, the focus for the dark side is all on Kylo. And so him killing his master, I feel like Snoke wasn't as much of a, I mean, he's a character, but he's more of like just an obstacle in Kylo's way. And when I look at it from that perspective, I tend to agree with that decision more.
He is kind of a red herring, but I think a lot of the criticism comes from people thinking about missed potential and the fact that he's in such a powerful position, but there's no way that really explains how he got there. And like kind of like the might and strength that he has, because really all we know of him is a hologram and a guy that sits in a throne. So
well, you could argue that that's a problem with the first movie of that trilogy. The second movie, there would be nothing wrong if the first movie had actually established his character. You know what I mean? I mean, like, you could say it's also the second movie's fault because the first movie didn't, so they had to, and just because I agree killing him was the right decision, but that doesn't mean they couldn't have, like, done something with him.
Yeah.
No, I'm kind of the opinion that The Last Jedi like it's not good. I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's I think it's like Star Wars is a franchise that's very popular, so it's gonna be examined under a very, very close microscope, the kind of way that you wouldn't examine anything else. And maybe rightly so, because it's a huge franchise that has a lot of money being poured into it. And, theoretically, anyone, like Disney could get anyone to direct it and anyone to write for it. And anyone would jump on Star Wars. But, so I think maybe it's right. But if you examine it with the same way that you'd examine most other movies, I don't think it's good. I'm not saying like the faults are just like good, but I think that a lot of the like microcosm things that people are kind of tearing it apart for are maybe a little over analyze-y, a little over like expectation-y of Star Wars.
I think because like the director even went out and said like the whole idea with this film was to subvert expectations and to do things people would not expect, especially from Star Wars. And I can at least respect him for doing something like different for the franchise, at least, with the decisions he made. I don't agree with all of them.
Did you like the cow milk? Did you like the part where Luke puts his...
That was quality entertainment right there. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, goodness.
Porgs!
Yeah. Porgs. Ugh. Okay. Not a fan of those.
Yeah.
Let me think.
It's kind of funny that the way that they explained the porgs was like, one of the VFX artists was like, yeah, we filmed on these islands in Ireland and there were all these birds, so we had to find a way to cover them up with special effects. So that's how we came up with porgs. I was like, oh, okay, so you make them an actual part of the story and you sell tons of merchandise just to cover up background birds. That makes sense, right?
Bill the intern coughed during a scene, so we decided to give Luke Skywalker a terminal illness. Oh goodness. Yeah, it's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I do still I think that the ultimate missed potential in that is not having Rey and Kylo go in their own direction, because that would be 100% subverting expectations. That would be 100% taking Star Wars in a place it's never been. It wouldn't be about good and evil necessarily. It would be about a new faction trying to do something new for the universe.
Yeah,
that could still happen.
It could,
but it'd be bad now.
Yeah.
What I think about The Last Jedi is that there's things I like about it and things I don't, but I do kind of wonder if a lot of the things I don't might be better in hindsight after Episode 9 drops, because I'm not comparing it to The Empire Strikes Back because I love that movie way too much to like directly compare the two, but I will say that as somebody who really likes The Empire Strikes Back, it is only as good as it is because Return of the Jedi exists. I'm not saying that Return of the Jedi is like, perfect or anything, but Empire just kind of ends on a cliffhanger. A lot of the plot lines do not get wrapped up, and it does feel kind of slow on its own, but when you have the whole picture, it is such a good movie.
I guess the counter to that you're not wrong at all. It's just the counter to that would be, well, since the first and the second of this new trilogy really did a terrible job at connecting each other, there's not really much faith to have that the third one's also going to connect. You know what I mean? Like when the first one, ends with this big dramatic thing with Luke and whatever, and then the second one comes in and is like, yeah, no, Luke's kind of like a weirdo now. The second one kind of, in that subverting expectations, it kind of took a lot of what the first one set up and like didn't do anything with it. And so I think that's maybe where a lot of the cynicism comes in, because it's like, well, if the first and second didn't connect very well, why would the third? But you're right, Chugga. It totally could. It could come together, and people like to think that these things exist in like a vacuum, and like, an episode is like statically good or bad, and it's never changed. It's your own personal perception. And I mean, that's somewhat true, but with an evolving story, things can change. And also, certain things culturally can change that make certain things become more valuable or less valuable.
Yeah. I see why it's a polarizing movie. It does say from the opening shot that it's going to subvert expectations right away when Luke just throws the lightsaber over his shoulder and kind of shrugs at it. Like, it says that from the very beginning, and I can see why it would be off-putting to some. But like, I don't know. There's still things about it that I do like.
It's like The Force Awakens was like formulaic Star Wars to the bone, and then The Last Jedi just is like not really anything like it. So I mean, I'm curious to see what JJ does with Episode 9, because I mean, either he's going to continue with what Rian Johnson established, or there's going to be a lot of retcons.
We'll have to see. I do think as a standalone movie that The Force Awakens is much better, though.
Yeah.
I think both movies could have done with more slappy wanna nappy.
I'm probably going to say something kind of controversial here, though, but I loved the original trilogy so much as a kid.
Controversial. Whoa.
No, I'm not
Watch
done.
out here.
I'm not done,
Star
buddy.
Wars is good. All right.
If I said the prequel trilogy, that would have been right away. But so I loved the original trilogy a lot as a kid, and I didn't see them for about 10 years. And I went back and I rewatched them when Force Awakens was coming out, and right away, A New Hope was not as great as I remembered. It was definitely the hardest to get through, and I thought the sloppiest of them. And when I saw The Force Awakens, honestly, I feel like The Force Awakens is kind of the same movie, but better. I know some people would have my head for saying anything in the new trilogy is better than the old one, but I do at least feel like the starting point was stronger.
Well, Monsters, I think we have
recast episode.
We do a future recast. Last Jedi and a new, or not the Last Jedi, the Force Awakens.
Hope.
Force Awakens and A New Hope. Yeah, I mean that could be an interesting one. I don't know.
I mean, technically, parts of it are animated.
We'll tell people we're gonna do that, and we just talk about the holiday special the entire time.
Oh
no! Compare the holiday special to the Clone Wars animated series or something, something stupid.
The first time they tried doing an animated TV spin-off, and the second time,
like the 2003 Gendy Tartakovsky one versus the 2008 CGI one.
People have recommended that. But all right, let's move on a little bit. Monsters, what have you seen in the week?
Like I mentioned, I saw the movie Up, and that led me on a bit of a Pixar spin. So, one of the Pixar, you know how they usually have shorts before every movie?
Yep. I liked Olaf's Frozen Adventure the best.
Yeah. The one that's probably the most nostalgic for me, and the one that I remember the most watching as a kid, was one called Jerry's Game. When I went to look it up, I accidentally typed in Gerald's Game, which is a very, like, it's a, I don't want to go too into it, but it's a very kinky story by Stephen King.
I know.
Anywho.
I think, like, the Wikipedia page says something like that. Like, for some reason, I remembered someone getting that mixed up one time.
Yeah. Because I've seen both of those, and they're very different. Anyway, Jerry's Game is about this old man who's playing chess with himself, and it's really funny.
The animation is a little creepy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, listen. You have nostalgic feelings for it, and like I do too. But I guarantee you, someone who didn't watch that, because that was what, Monsters Inc. I think.
Bugs Life.
Bugs Life.
Okay, yeah, even earlier. So someone watching it now, like with no context of that, it's a little uncanny. I'm not saying it looks terrible.
Well,
but
apparently
it's
the model of the old man was reused from Toy Story.
He's the master of ASMR who fixes Woody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I watched.
Okay. Thank you, Monsters.
Yeah.
Okay. Chugga, have you watched anything in the past week?
Not really. Well, okay. Maybe not the last week, though, like barely more than a week, though, but I actually did go see Pokemon The Power of Us in theaters.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Sorry?
It's not the one where Pikachu talks, right?
That's 20. This is 21.
Okay. Oh, how could I have confused?
It actually is a sequel to that movie, though. Like, it does kind of pick up where it left off. The idea is that the 20th movie, the one that you're remembering, it starts the story over from the beginning, but is kind of more of a retelling where it retcons in that, you know, hey, all these Pokemon existed from the beginning, and all these elements of the world all existed at that point.
Ash never stole a bike. What are you talking about?
But here's the odd thing. Isn't the 20th movie a retcon in itself of the original anime?
Well, no, the 20th movie is non-canon. It's not like, it's just kind of an alternate telling where it tells it over from the beginning, but with things happening a different way. And the 21st movie just completely diverts off into its own direction after that, where it's a sequel to that, but it's in a location that was never featured before and tells a story that hadn't been told before.
Is it any good?
I liked it. I thought it was better than the last one. I thought it had pretty good characters. I was really sad that the girl Risa is not like a traveling companion because she's better than some of the actual traveling companions that we've had for whole seasons. But my biggest issue with the movie is that in the last act, it gets unreasonably preachy.
Oh boy.
Even for like Pokemon, if you love your friends, you'll always be a winner. Even for those standards. It's okay.
Is it Pokemon crying to revive Ash? Is it that level?
No. Well, okay, it's not that though. Here, I can tell you how it is. So, without like spoiling anything in the movie, they're about to go off. Like the group of 10 people or whatever that the movie's about. They're about to go off and solve the big disaster that needs fixing in order to save the day. And Ash gives them this great big cheesy motivational speech. And right as I'm about to roll my eyes at it, one of the characters on screen busts out laughing and is like, "Okay, yeah, buddy, you do you." And they all just kind of like have a chuckle about it, and they're like, "Okay, let's just do this." So I'm thinking, okay, it's self-aware. That's fine. That's actually a really good joke and really subverted expectations. That's really cool. And then as it's following each of these like 9 other characters as they're off doing their part, they all turn really preachy and like repeat what Ash said, and I don't get why, because I'm like, okay, 1 minute you're self-aware and then the next minute you're not, and the fact that they repeat it so many times, I'm just like, no.
Chugga, you know what that self-awareness is? I can tell you, actually. I watched something similar to Pokemon this week. I don't want to spoil it, but it's the dub. I bet you anything. It's the writers of the dub realized how cheesy and weird it is, but they had to play it out, so they probably threw in a line. It was a bone, maybe.
I don't think I would say that, because like
Really?
the adaptation is a lot more faithful these days than it was back then, and there's also the fact that the characters pose along with saying it and all that. Maybe it's one of those things that there's a Japanese word for that there isn't a good equivalent of in English. That's possible, but yeah, I don't know. Like,
would you say? I mean, well, would you say it is like a dub issue of the preachiness? Because depending on how you say things, like if you directly translate. Like, if you probably were to directly translate like an inspiring speech in Japanese into English, it would probably sound really stupid and cheesy, but maybe it would sound elegant in their language because it, you know, the words are not as like layman-y. I don't know. Like, it could be dub writing, or what do you think?
I can't say for sure because I don't know about the Japanese version. I haven't seen it, and I don't know anybody who has. It's just that it's so centralized to what the characters do in the last act that I don't think that it was a liberty that was taken by them. And I don't know. I find it really odd that it's perfectly fine up to that point. They have that bit of self-awareness, and I'm thinking, okay, this is really good, and then it just takes that turn.
Okay. That's interesting. It was the disaster that happens a legendary Pokemon?
Not quite, actually.
Awesome! I am so happy they moved away from that.
For a while there was the stock Pokemon movie plot, as I called it. I've heard this. I think I've heard a few other people call it, where there's like some ultra powerful Pokemon from space that's destroying a downtown of a city, and you know, oh, we have to stop it. And then they go and they stop it, and they find out, oh, he was just looking for his friend the whole time.
Also, Team Rocket's there, but they do nothing, and the city that they're in is based off of some real-life location because the writers wanted a vacation.
that part doesn't change, though. Team Rocket at least did more in this movie, and they were a lot more central to the plot, but it was... If you ever go see the 20th movie, the one from last year, it's comedic how much Team Rocket doesn't do anything in that movie. It's really funny because they even acknowledge, I think, at one point where they're climbing on some cliffs while Ash is doing some important story-centric fight, and I think they even say, "Why are we here?"
I heard actually that the next Pokemon movie is going to be... It's about Mewtwo, and it's like... What is it? It's like Mewtwo Strikes Back Again or something. Like, the name is a callback to the very first Pokemon movie. Which sounds interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the info on
contender.
that. They unfortunately leave out the teaser trailers at the end of the dub versions of the movies. That's something that's been consistent over the years, where after the credits in the Japanese version, you get a teaser for the next movie, but they never did that for us, even though it's fully animated and already done. Sometimes the teasers don't come true, though. For the Zoroark movie, they gave us a teaser of Lugia and Ho-Oh fighting for Heart Gold Soul Silver, and that never happened. So there have been times where it's been foolhardy, but I don't know.
Do they still do that like Welcome to the World of Pokemon thing at the beginning?
No, that was just movies 4 and 5, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the Sinnoh movies did it as well, so like 10, 11, 12.
I'm pretty sure
The World of Pokemon.
Yeah. And then Ash battles with a Dawn fan, and it's like, wow, a Dawn fan. I've never seen that before. Anyway, so I watched something not entirely dissimilar from Pokemon.
Oh.
Have you guys ever seen a show called Yu-Gi-Oh?
Heck yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So I found out that they did like a nostalgia pandering movie like a year or two ago called The Dark Side of Dimensions, and despite my better nature, I decided to check it out. Like I've been pretty into Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series recently. I've rewatched it all, and I've been watching like videos that critique Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff because it's like I have nostalgia for the show. I watched it on Kids WB a lot, but at the same time, I don't think it's a good show by like most standards. Basically
it's funny.
Yes. Well, the whole thing about card games and games in general is like using strategy to defeat opponents or whatever. But it's like the whole thing in the show is that like literally they could just say anything. Like the cards don't have actual consistent meanings. You could just be like, oh, but you know, I had a trap card that was this thing, and oh, I had and it's like, all right. I mean, that's kind of like interesting, I guess, from a story perspective, but it's also like not, because like just anything can happen at any time.
There's also the fact that there's no strategy, and it's just, oh, looky, I drew the card I needed.
Right.
The cards.
Also, the only way they could make anything interesting is by having like every villain cheat. Like that's but anyway, this movie is Dark Side of Dimensions, and it takes place after Yu-Gi-Oh! So spoilers on an anime that's like 20 years old, 25 years old. The Pharaoh is no longer with Yugi. And so it's basically like about Yugi and friends getting along without him, even though they all still want to be best buddies with them. The story is incredibly stupid. It's as stupid as it's ever been. Basically, the bad guy, he's got a magic cube that basically, for some inexplicable reason, when the Pharaoh goes back to the homeworld, this cube has the power to like alter reality. But if the Pharaoh ever comes back and inhabits Yugi's body again, that power is gone. And it's called the Plana, but it kind of sounds like he's saying like the plot hole or something, which is what I was thinking the entire time. But yeah, he can rewrite reality, and he's upset because his mentor got killed. But like his mentor gave a speech about like, you must never give in to fear and hatred because that ruins the world. And then like he gets killed by the Millennium Ring, because the Millennium Ring causes every problem in this show. And then immediately after he gets killed, his chief disciple just is like, well, I better like destroy everyone because everyone's evil. Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. But the cool thing is that the movies seem to be incredibly self-aware, and like things like Kaiba's ego was cranked up to like 8 million. Kaiba creates a space station that has a Kaiba Corp logo on it. He also created a dual disc that fused with his mind so that he can actively change reality around him. I'm not kidding. Things that happen in this movie. Also, minor spoilers at the very end. He drops from his space station all the way down into Earth and either dies or goes back in time so he can fight the Pharaoh, because the entire movie he's motivated by nothing but wanting to get the Pharaoh back so he can beat him in a children's card game.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah. So that's the thing. On the cheese level, this thing is a fun watch. Absolutely. Like, I recommend it. If you have nostalgic feelings towards Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is there. Joey is just complete comic relief. He does nothing in the story, and just like he gets dressed. He's stuck in a dog costume, which is a callback to the show.
Yes.
Yep.
He has nightmares about Kaiba being better than him, which also happens in the show. Duke Devlin has a cameo. Taya goes off to America in the end to be a dancer. Like, oh goodness. Kaiba. So Kaiba simulates a duel with the Pharaoh, And he has a line where he says, do you know how many hours it took me to simulate the coif on the pharaoh's hair? Like, he also crushes a water bottle and throws it to the side and says, "Fire whoever made this Kaiba Corp water bottle. It's no Kaiba Corp product should be this flimsy." Like, I don't know. I had a good time. That's all I can really say.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Okay. So that's what I watched, and then I also watched something Christmassy. I know I kind of talked about it a little last week, but I watched my favorite Christmas special, the Danny Phantom one, The Fright Before Christmas. I wrote down, like, oh goodness, I could talk so long about this, but I'll try not to. One of the cool things about it is that it kind of incorporates like so many things from Christmas. They have like March of the Toys from the Nutcracker. They have references to Rudolph. They have references to A Christmas Carol, obviously, because it's a ghost. Danny gets called Scrooge a few times. It's a butt-kicking Christmas. It's also a Christmas that the main character ruins and saves. It's also an episode where all the villains team up to help the hero, and the hero gets framed for something he didn't do. It has bits of like Santa isn't real versus Santa is real argument. Like, it's just got everything. And it's all told in rhyme, probably a reference to the Grinch. But I think, like, what I like about the rhyme, and what I've never really said, is not just that it rhymes, but it has a certain cadence to it, like a poem. Because the whole thing is supposed to be like The Night Before Christmas, another Christmas reference. But the whole thing is supposed to be like that. So it's not just that, like, the characters are rhyming, because I've seen plenty of things where the characters rhyme. There's a certain cadence in the way the characters rhyme, not just themselves, but with one another, that feels so good. It doesn't feel forced. All right, I'm done. Have any of you guys seen this?
If I have, it's been a very long time. I haven't seen Danny Phantom in about 10 years.
I wish Kuro was here. I'm very happy you joined us too, Chugga, but Kuro would have appreciated that anyway.
Oh man, this sucks, but I still like you.
No, it's just like the one week I talk about Danny Phantom. But yeah. I really recommend it. I mean, I don't know. If you ever get a chance to watch it, definitely do it. You don't really need to know that much about Danny Phantom, but it also has Will Arnett, and the funny thing is that he plays a character named Ghost Rider, and on BoJack in the first season he hires a Ghost Rider. And it was one of his first voiced appearances. So without this, maybe he would have never been Lego Batman or BoJack. Just saying. All right.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I've made this awkward. All right, now on to news. There is no news. Now on to the question of the week. We're recording this early in the week. There might be news. Well, here, I'll throw out a news thing for you. The Steven Universe is airing a new episode on Christmas Eve, of all things. So, I won't be doing a video on it that day.
Well...
and I hope... Are you, Chugga? You gonna do one?
I don't know. You know me. I'm Mr. Cartoon Reviewer. Maybe it's like a challenge that Cartoon Network is throwing down the gauntlet, being all like, all right, let's see how many of you really care about your ad revenue by making a video of this day one.
But yeah, no, I warn you just because I won't be making a video, but I'm sure someone will, and I'm sure there'll be spoilers like all over the front page of YouTube. So like, I mean, look, spend Christmas Eve with your family.
I'm sure within 5 minutes there's going to be a video breaking down how absolutely awful this is under the microscope and how could anyone call this entertaining. And my discussion of it's going to be 2 hours long.
Hey, I'm offended by that. But yeah, no, just be aware that, like, you know, it's out. So before you go browse the front page of YouTube or whatever, like, you know, make sure you check it out. And then I'll probably be covering this. The next episode is like, it's like on New Year's Eve or something really close to that. I won't be covering that one that night either, but I probably will be covering this grouping of episodes at some point in January. So, stay tuned for that. I'm excited for more Steven Universe. Completely baffled by this. Does any show ever air a new episode on Christmas Eve? ever.
No.
Charlie Brown.
No, but like that's the thing. Even Christmas like specials or Christmas themed episodes get aired like the first week in December, so they can rerun them all Christmas long. Nothing gets aired new on Christmas Eve.
I can't name anything.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe like White Diamond puts on like 5 Santa hats, one on each needle. I don't know.
Maybe it's just out of respect for Steven's Jewish heritage. I mean, not everyone's celebrating Christmas Eve, so you know that's
right.
They're making it a holiday for everyone. New Steven Universe Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The recast is very inclusive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Steven Universe, politically correct.
Oh no. This recast is going to be subverting all the expectations. All right. So the question of the week is from a guy named Crystal on our Discord server, who asks, what are your favorite and least favorite tropes/cliches found in Christmas specials, and do they impact your enjoyment of the specials themselves?
Good question.
I guess I'll go first then. I kind of have the same answer for both of them, and it's A Christmas Carol. So no. I love good adaptations of A Christmas Carol, things that manage to be subversive or that manage to just be a very solid take, like Mickey's Christmas Carol. But I don't like when shows just lazily do it. Like I talked about it last week, but like I'm not a fan of the way Animaniacs did it. Like it just kind of feels like they hit the notes and then that's it. Because it's an easy formula to replicate, right? The story it's not like rocket science. It's a very simple story to tell. But a lot of the charm comes in how you tell it and how you show the transformation of Scrooge and how you like you can interpret the ghosts in any way you want. Like, I mean, what AVGN did A Christmas Carol and it was great. With the screw attack guys.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna
No, I remember like the time that like they rhymed where he's like, I'm here to take you back to the past, and then the way he rhymed with that was so good.
But yeah, no, like that's kind of one of the things where it's like and that translates to like all kind of Christmas stories, whether it be like A Wonderful Life or what, you know, The Grinch or whatever. Like you do a good adaptation of it that really puts your spin on it and you make it festive and you make it fun. And that's great. Do a lazy version where you just copy the story. You don't put any like anything into it. And it's just kind of like, all right, whatever.
That's a good answer, because it just kind of feels like one of those stories that everyone has to adapt these days. And I agree that when done well, it can be really good. But when done bad, it's so frequently just hitting the bullet points and just doing it for the sake of doing it.
I don't want to throw something under the bus that I haven't seen, but from what I have seen of like the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol that Disney did a few years back, that one doesn't look to have done anything special or different other than that it's motion capture and creepy.
Oh, Image Movers, yeah.
What?
No, the studio's called Image Movers.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Ah. Was it not a Disney movie?
I think it was distributed by Disney, but it was Image Movers.
I think Image Movers like acquired them, and then that was the first movie under Disney that Image Movers did.
Oh, you mean Disney acquired them?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but yeah, no, I haven't seen the movie, so maybe it's different. But from all like the advertising and the clips that I've seen, it kind of just looks like it's A Christmas Carol, but surprise, it's like lifelike, except you could just be watching a live action adaptation, but you're not. Do you guys have any good answers?
I guess I could go next on this one. I guess I kind of mentioned this earlier with Pokemon. I don't like it when something is overly preachy and explains its message multiple times over directly to the audience. I can't stand that, and I think it really just shows that you didn't have enough confidence in the thing to stand on its own. That's probably my least favorite. As for like a trope or cliche that I like, I guess I like it when people just put like a complete and total different spin on like, well, I guess it's not really a trope though, but like when people like make something funny, I guess, out of something Christmas related where something is self-aware and, you know, they actually do kind of poke a little bit of fun at what they're doing. I think that's good. That is very on topic with what we're comparing later on though, so I don't want to say too much about that though, but it's something that I very much like about one of those specials.
Okay. Monsters, do you have anything?
Yeah. I'd say my favorite is one when like a character, I find that often in Christmas specials a character gets isolated, and then that gives them time to just kind of immerse themselves in the Christmas atmosphere. And I don't know why. I know that's kind of depressing, but I usually like those types of moments where it's just like a sole character walking around and like immersing themselves in the atmosphere of like the snow and the Christmas lights and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's a trope, but
no, that's a good one, because for a lot of shows, the only episode where there'll be snow is the Christmas episode.
Right.
And that can provide some like really nice looking visuals and a very good change of pace.
Right. And then for negative, I really don't like gimmicky Christmas movies. So like, I guess there's almost kind of like a subgenre of Christmas movies where it's like, oh, Santa's my neighbor, or Santa's my stepdad, or Santa's with my mom now, like those types of movies. And it's
or
like,
my dad killed Santa Claus and now has to take his place. Wah wah.
I watched that movie like a few years ago. Not as good as I remember it being as a kid.
The Santa Claus is what we're talking about if you don't recognize it, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, and I refuse to watch the other two, including the one where Martin Short is Jack Frost.
Oh gosh.
The best thing about that franchise is the subtitle of the sequels. What is it, like the escape clause?
Yes.
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 Everyone wants to escape clause out of that movie.
I had to watch the entire trilogy one year in school. I don't know why, but they had us watch that in school, all three of them, and it was so bad.
I'm so sorry.
Yikes. Shadow?
As for me, my least favorite is actually just slightly branching off of yours, Pie Guy. Just in general, not just A Christmas Carol, but like Christmas specials that essentially just take a story and do it again and don't add nothing new to it. So it doesn't feel like, you know, they put in the extra effort to differentiate it, make it unique or special. So as for my favorite though, I'm a sucker for Christmas songs. You know, the inclusion of Christmas songs.
Yes.
Especially
Well, gee, I'm sure that won't be popping up in a little bit.
I was just about to say, we're just about to talk about that, but yes, I'm such a sucker for them. They're great. So that's definitely one of my favorite for sure.
Nice. Yeah, oh yeah, of course. I'll give a bonus one. Like so I'm with you, Chugga, that I don't like preachy messages, but I do like Christmas is like the one time of year where I can tolerate a little more schmaltz than usual in my TV show. Not too much.
I can agree there. A little bit is fine, but I'm talking like when it's overly preachy and it says the same thing over and over again.
Oh yeah. One thing I love about the Danny Phantom Christmas special is one of the message at the end is Danny says that he learns to realize that everyone celebrates Christmas in their own way. And I think like that's like a moral that doesn't really get thrown around, that it's like his parents spend the entire time arguing, but that's their way of celebrating Christmas. But
no, it reminds me of something stupid I did when I was a kid.
Oh?
I could have used this message because there was one time where I visited some relatives from far away, and we were going to open presents, I think, in the evening with dinner, and me being like 5 years old was absolutely furious. And I said, "You can't open presents afternoon. That's against the rules."
Oh, my goodness. I would watch a sitcom about young Chugga.
I would too.
I have a million stories of just stupid stuff I did as a kid.
That's the best recurring segments on your Let's Plays, is when you talk about how you misunderstood a word or something. Those are the best stories, dude.
Oh god, I actually edited one today, and it's something else.
Ooh, exciting. All right. So to move right along, Monsters, I believe you have picked our Futurama episodes for next week. Would you like to tell the audience?
Sure. Yeah, next week we're going to compare 2 episodes of Futurama. The first one we already established is the pilot, Mystery Pilot 3000.
No, it's not called that. It's called Space Pilot 3000.
Sorry. I'm Space Pilot 3000.
Yancey.
I always get it confused with Mystery Science Theater.
You did that exactly last week.
Right.
But continue.
And then, so the episode we're going to be comparing is, drumroll please, Game of Tones. because I just kind of figured it does a good job of kind of recapping the events that happened in the pilot episode, and then obviously the pilot episode is the first of the series, and Game of Thrones is one of the very last. So I thought it would be cool to kind of measure up those two.
That's a very good choice, and that's Game of Thrones is like, if you mention the revival, the first episode that gets mentioned is the late Philip J. Fry for good reason. But like the second episode is usually Game of Thrones or the last episode. But yeah, that's great picks, Monsters. We won't tell you who we'll be having on next week in case they fall ill or we can't book anyone.
Womp, womp.
But yeah, no, we'll be doing that. And special recast announcement is that we're not going to be announcing the week after. So Monsters and I have talked this over, and we're going to be announcing next week's episode and like the episodes we're talking about every week, but we're going to stop doing 2 weeks in advance because it kind of limits us a little bit. We make plans and sometimes we shift things around and we have other ideas that fit better in like the time and whatever. So we're just going to kind of stop doing that. We did it because we wanted people to have enough time to watch these episodes, and we have something else in mind for that we will be announcing in 2019. We have a few changes, improvements to the podcast that we're going to be talking about probably in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, in 2 weeks, it could be anything. We could be comparing Chugga's Earthbound Let's Play with his other Earthbound Let's Play.
When that was coming out, we went back and rewatched the first video like the night before, like I was going to record it, and it was pain and suffering.
Or we could compare Shadow's My Little Pony music to
Oh my gosh, stop it.
his review of Donnie.
This is a different time. Different time.
We'll compare 2 Jared episodes.
No, please don't do.
We are
don't
due
do
up
this
for
to
a
yourself.
Powerpuff Girls recast, so
Oh dear. Okay.
keep thinking of that. Anyway,
Chugga, do you know Jared? No.
No, we don't have to talk about him. Don't.
so let's get on to our feature presentation. So so we were talking about the episodes from the show SpongeBob SquarePants, Christmas Who, It's a SpongeBob Christmas, and Goons on the Moon, also known as
Space Bob Mary Pants.
Yes.
It's called that on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I watched the first Christmas Who on Amazon, and it was just called a SpongeBob Christmas Special.
Well, I can't blame Amazon with a title like It's a SpongeBob Christmas, because that also just sounds like you're just describing the episode.
It reminds me of the
That
whole like
title.
Spy Bob thing that iTunes had, where it's like, how do they not get the titles for this right?
Yep.
Or to SquarePants and not to Square. That one's the worst.
Oh, yeah. But this one was an intentional thing on Nickelodeon's part because they wanted to brand it as a Christmas episode. But
Yeah.
all right, so let's start talking about Christmas Who.
Mm-hmm.
The plot of Christmas Who, to the one person in the audience who has never seen it, come on. If you've never seen this episode, please let me know in the comments. Like, it's all right. It's okay. I'm curious because, like, the cross-section of demographic here that watch my channel, I'd be very surprised. But yeah, Christmas Who is an episode where SpongeBob has never heard of Christmas, so Sandy explains to him the nature of Santa Claus, and SpongeBob spreads that cheer to everyone in Bikini Bottom, who gets all excited to meet Santa Claus. Santa Claus doesn't show up, and Squidward, who's been grumpy the whole episode, rubs it in SpongeBob's face. SpongeBob gets him a very thoughtful gift, which causes Squidward to become Santa Claus for that night. And then we end on drunk Santa Claus. Also, Tom Kenny is dressed up like a pirate who loves SpongeBob, named Patchy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to start with the Patchy stuff?
Okay.
Since that's where the episode starts. So like it's weird because you take Patchy for granted now, but like Patchy was interesting at the time. Like this was a creative decision that someone had to come up with.
This was his first appearance, wasn't it? Or no, that was... Or was it?
Shanghai was after this.
Yeah, I think that was.
Otherwise, that would be very weird for Shanghai. No, my thoughts are that they came up with this character because they wanted lots of kind of classic Christmas specials have these like wraparounds or this narrator type thing. So that was kind of my thought that's where they got inspired with Patchy, and then they decided to use him again.
What an inspiration for a long-lasting character.
Yeah, I know, right? So like, I've said a lot of things about Patchy over the years, but he's fantastic here.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have him in just enough of the episode. He does not overstay his welcome. That's like the main takeaway here.
A little Patchy goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. The biggest highlight is the jokes with Potty, cutting Potty down. Potty, the best one in my opinion being where he grabs Potty and then there's a Potty that's like a puppeteer Potty that falls down.
Yeah, it just thuds.
Yes.
My favorite Patchy joke was probably reading off the letter and name and address withheld.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say. I never got why that was funny as a kid, but I always still laughed at it anyway. Oh goodness.
That one's really good.
There's also the 3 bells. You know what that means? Free ice cream. No.
I like how he switches his eye patch over to the other eye and it stays on the other eye for the rest of the special.
I love when he pulls up the pair of glasses and one of them has an eye patch over the glasses too. Like...
and I gotta say, like, I don't. Maybe this is like a what's it called? Mandela effect thing. But like, I've always kind of had the thing where like Patchy is like stylistically suck. But in this episode, the only thing that's like really kind of like quote unquote low budgety about it is that Potty's strings are like horribly visible. Like everything else about it, it's not really low budget in any way.
I feel like that's like intentional though. Do you think?
Oh, Potty, absolutely. No,
Yeah.
that's a joke with Potty. I'm just saying that I don't really think the rest of it is stylistic suck. The rest of it is just kind of genuinely like well produced, good looking. The jokes come more from Patchy's like weird personality than like I don't know the low budget like Patchy
Right.
on a green screen in Truth or Square. It's also it was just kind of a good way to kind of get 2 early SpongeBob gags out of it, where he's like, I wonder what SpongeBob's doing to decorate, and then I wonder what Patrick's doing to decorate.
One of the little touches that I liked in the Patchy segments was that when it cuts back at the end, and Patchy he's actually talking as SpongeBob, but the shot's cropped so you can't see his mouth, and he's doing like a bad impression of Patrick. And then as soon as he's done talking as SpongeBob, then it zooms out and you can see Patchy's mouth again.
Yep. And he's on a hat that he's wearing too.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, this is like a really minute detail, but on his Christmas tree, there's like tons of SpongeBob and Patrick's, and there's just like one Squidward that looks grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like they just cut out a picture of Squidward too. It didn't even look like an actual ornament. And then cookie dough. That's the other thing.
Yes. I think we just named like every single thing that happened in it because it was so good.
Yes.
Was there anything we left out?
Oh, and the other thing, Patchy, you're on. Oh.
Yes.
So Patchy stuff, really solid. So now the episode. Like,
Okay.
what do you say about Christmas? Who I've spoken about this episode
It's
so
a
many
classic. Come on.
Yeah, very
I know.
much. It's very good.
It's so good.
It's prime SpongeBob.
All right. Without saying anything else, let's go down the list. What was your one of your favorite things just about the episode? Shadow.
The song.
All right. Yes. You took the best one.
Yeah.
Monsters.
A minor thing, Mr. Krabs' falsetto in the song, but also the donkey picture.
Yes.
Chugga.
Man, what are you leaving me with here?
There's a decent amount.
I mean, I guess I could say that, like, I got a real kick out of you asking me to do this last second, and Potty was laying Yoshi eggs at the end, but like that's all I have though, because I was gonna be like, okay, the song, okay, Mr. Krabs, Okay.
Potty's crafted word.
Okay, I guess if there's something that I could
someone mod that. Someone. Sorry.
I guess if there's something I could say about the episode itself that's not those things. This sounds really weird, but okay, I haven't seen Christmas Who in years before tonight. And it's been ages, I think, since they've done like a new karate episode. So seeing what was essentially new karate footage at the beginning of the episode that I didn't remember felt really weird to see again.
Yeah, so like that was the like because that's not the part you remember about the episode.
No, I didn't remember the opening scene at all or how the setup was. I remember Sandy tells him though, but I didn't remember what happened up to that point. And
yeah,
I was just like, wow, karate footage that I feel like I've never seen before, and it's been forever since they've done that in an episode. So cool.
All right, so I'll rapid fire a few minor things and I'll get into my main one. Let's see. Squidward calling Santa a jolly prowler. Sandy, when she's explaining Santa Claus, she looks like she's doing the Roadrunner thing, like an impression of Roadrunner for some reason.
She's huge biceps when she talks about the reindeer.
Yeah. What else?
The dictionary.
Right. The way that like everyone at the end was someone earlier in the episode that asked for something, and Squidward gave them a weird version of what they wanted. And probably my favorite joke in the episode, which is like maybe it's just because I've seen it a million times, and like all the other jokes like kind of like I've seen them, but the one where Squidward is saying ho 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 and SpongeBob can't find him. Like, that is such a SpongeBob joke, and it's just like Squidward's trying to do something nice, and SpongeBob somehow screws that up. But no, my favorite thing, and what I'll say, is that I think maybe in all of SpongeBob, maybe the entire series, this is probably my favorite genuine sweet moment. Because look, like a lot of people like to paint Squidward as like deep down he cares about SpongeBob, and that is true. There is evidence to support that, but it's about like 4 episodes out of like what 300, 400. It's not at all every episode, or even every other episode that ends with Squidward like reluctantly saying he likes SpongeBob. Like what? It's like Fools in April, like the Hash Slinging Slasher episode.
Dying for Pie, probably.
Dying for Pie, yes.
It takes one of them like seeming like they're going to die for him to actually say it, and you don't get
Right.
it hardly ever.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that all those examples are first 3 seasons. I'm not saying there aren't any in the post, but just that I can't think of any. But no, like last week we had a question about how to like tone, how to like a comedy show doing a more serious tone or vice versa, and I feel like this episode transitioned it very nicely. Like, it goes from SpongeBob's crying, but he does like an exaggerated sad face when he's crying. We get the donkey on Squidward joke. We get jokes right up to it, but the tone is kind of still building towards something a little more sad and a little more, not the spirit that the rest of the episode has had. And rightfully so, because SpongeBob spent his entire episode building something up, and then it's just been completely crushed. And so to get that moment where SpongeBob, it's not a schmaltzy speech that SpongeBob gives. It's something genuine and sweet and from the heart, and something that was personally made. It's not even cartoonish, really. I mean, I don't think you could really build that, but it's not like over the top exaggerated. It's just like a sweet wooden instrument that SpongeBob makes for Squidward. Don't mind my cat scratching a box in the background.
It has his name on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a sweet moment, and inspires such a great climax, such a great ending to the episode, where Squidward gets a change of heart, but he still remains Squidward. He's still Grump at the end. Like, it's not some unrealistic, annoying, complete character change. It's totally motivated, totally sweet, and still funny, and still SpongeBob. And I think that's so great.
Yeah.
I just love the dumbfounded look on his face at the end, too, when he sees Santa.
Yeah. Well, I'm officially crazy. And that'll tie into something later, apparently. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I know this episode is remembered for the song, probably first and foremost. It's remembered for the good jokes. It's remembered for Patchy. It's remembered for a lot of things, but and it is remembered for the sweet moment, but I do think that like that stands out among other SpongeBob episodes have fantastic songs, other SpongeBob episodes have fantastic jokes. Not many SpongeBob episodes have a moment that is really that sweet and that earned and justified and paid off in a way, like in a story way.
Yeah, I guess it is one of the deeper storylines that we've ever had, like in an episode start to finish. Definitely not like the craziest though, but yeah, I'm with you that it's not schmaltzy, it's not forced, it very much feels natural. And I remember being impressed by that while watching it again, being like, this actually makes a lot of sense and is just kind of an absolute good, showing that they were really masters of what they were doing by this point in the series.
Mm-hmm. Also, can I just say that it's crazy that we have a character who's insanely greedy, and we have another character who's a big grump, and yet we haven't had a Christmas Carol out of SpongeBob.
Thank God, if I may say so. But
sorry, and we have a ghost too. Excuse me. Like all the pieces are there. Like the show loves doing ghost episodes.
Bring back Lord Poltergeist from Ghoul Fools.
Yeah.
I had a few weird things I noticed about this episode. So these are just weird things. So we mentioned the dictionary, but based on SpongeBob's tone, I like to think that he knew full well what Squidward was saying, and that was just him getting back at him in the best way possible. 'Cause it's kind of like what we said last time I was on about how we thought he knew that the Strangler was the bodyguard.
Yeah,
he's not as stupid as you think, and his tone is just like, "Gee, Squidward, I hope Santa brings me a dictionary so I'll know what you just said." Like the way he says it is so good.
It is a pretty good burn. Like that's a kill him with kindness moment.
His face afterward is perfect. I like how SpongeBob doesn't know what Christmas is because he lives under the sea, but he knows what fire is.
Yeah, of course. They're not cavemen.
No, and then
they have technology.
The only thing that I would say the only thing I'd say that's a little bit strange in kind of a potentially bad way is that Sandy just kind of disappears.
Yep.
Even though she's logically the most qualified help for when SpongeBob feels down and, maybe doesn't believe in Santa after all, or when the fish don't believe, but they don't really go to her. She just kind of vanishes. I mean, I guess she is Miss-Appear, but...
Well, my guess is that there was a storyboard or an early draft where there's a line about her going to Texas for Christmas to be with her family, because that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but no, it's not in here, and there's not even like a hint that's just me inferring that based upon a guess. And it's true, but like she's not in it because she can't be in it because otherwise, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess she has no reason to believe Santa wouldn't come underwater. So I guess she could be around. It would change the story a bit, but it would be interesting. I feel like Sandy would be like, "Come on, SpongeBob, we're going to the North Pole to see what's going on."
Is it ever actually explained why Santa doesn't show up until Christmas Day? Is it maybe like his route becomes longer because now the undersea creatures want him to come too?
It's because Santa knew that Squidward needed a lesson. That's my theory.
He was out drinking. That's what it was, because we talked about this already.
That's drunk Santa. Mm-hmm. I always thought that as a kid too, because he's I don't know, he's having a ball. You know that's like a writer or someone that they put in a Santa suit and just he's like, "What do you want me to do?" And they're like, "I don't know, just laugh and be Santa."
I will check this, actually. I want to see what actor that is.
Just laugh absurdly for 5 minutes while looking back and forth.
It better not be Tom Kenny, because there's other people on this show. Oh, something we didn't say about the Patchy segments, actually, that I do want to make note of while Chugga's checking that. Potty is voiced by the late Steven Hillenburg. This is the first SpongeBob episode we're doing after his passing, and we spoke about it a little before, and I don't want to, bring the tone down too much, but just I do want to say that his performance as Patchy or as Potty is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of thing where it's like, he only wanted to do it because it was like the kind of like the butt of the joke, like the to reference something that Shadow talks about quite a bit, like the new Powerpuff Girls writers love to just insert themselves all over the place for no reason other than ego or they think it's cool or whatever. but like a good creator will put themselves in kind of like the butt of the joke role or like the weird role or whatever, where it's like there's no like glory in voicing Potty or whatever. You know, you like who'd you voice in this? Oh yeah, I was the puppet on strings that has like the horrifying voice. No, but like his performance is great, and it just, I'm sorry, but Tibbet doesn't do it as good. Did you ever find out who that was, Chugga?
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt your speech though, because it was very good. His name is Mike Bell. He is a crew member who later became a writer. He was only in the credits for Christmas Who is Santa Claus until season 4, when he wrote Shell of a Man, The Lost Mattress, and Good Neighbors.
Oh, he's that guy.
And those are the only 3 episodes he ever wrote. He's been a fisherman in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie in the live action segments, but
Nice.
Yeah, he only ever wrote 3 episodes in season 4, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, those first two are really good.
No, Shell of a Man's one of my absolute favorite episodes in the whole series. I don't mean to discredit him at all.
Of course. What else about this episode? I like, it's a minor detail that like no one really ever thinks about or focuses on, because he says it really fast, but SpongeBob somehow invented this machine that shoots things to the surface.
Yeah,
he just
says
invents
that
a
he
machine
made
on
it.
screen.
I love that like when he shoots the bottles up to the surface, like you know how Patrick sends the one with the paper in half, like
Yes.
like with all the shots afterwards where it's just filling up with all the bottles, you still see that one bottle that has the paper in half. Also, the last guy when he's like, "Man, I hope you can read Portuguese."
I didn't notice that Patrick's bottle stays there. That's really good.
Yep. I love that it makes a quack sound effect for no real reason, but yeah, basically. Oh no, it's not a quack sound effect. It's a penguin from Adventure Time, obviously.
I'm willing to bet SpongeBob didn't invent that. It was actually Sandy, and he just like stuffed her in a closet somewhere to take credit for her invention, and that's what happened to her.
Someone's in the closet with Sandy. That's, if people didn't like Rockabye Bivalve, then get ready. I'm sorry. Let's see. Anything else about the episode? I gotta say, I didn't particularly find Patrick's jokes to be funny. The genie thing, like I didn't think it was like a terrible joke, but it's kind of funny because it's like both of his lines there, or both of his like main parts of the episode, aside from being the star on top of the tree, is that he has the running joke where he breaks the paper that comes up like a few times, and then his other joke where he says like a genie like 4 times. Like both of them are kind of recurring jokes, and I felt like both of them overstayed their welcome a little bit.
The paper one I think was the better of the two, and I like the moment when it reveals after he's somehow broken 3 pieces of paper where you actually see him do the 4th one. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a good setup and was pretty. I did get a chuckle out of me. It wasn't one of the best jokes in the episode, but I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was awful, but I would say if there was like a maybe weaker jokes, those would kind of be the ones. The song is really good though. It's funny because when people ask like what's your favorite SpongeBob song or whatever, like I never think to answer this one because it's a Christmas special, so I'm only thinking about it when it's Christmas, which is dumb because it's just a good episode. But like no, it is one of the best SpongeBob songs.
Yeah, it's good.
Like the chestnuts roasting and burns in the 3rd degree. SpongeBob take this stuff down immediately. Like it's and then also there's a sick burn on fruitcake, which is ironic.
It kind of is. I actually had that in my notes for something.
Actually, there's 2 sick burns because there's one where it's in the garbage. The garbage smells so sweetly. And then there's another line early where SpongeBob's explaining Christmas, and he's like, and for some reason everyone pretends to love this fruitcake, or like he says something like that. And it's like, oh, if only you knew. You guys have anything else?
I mean, you guys pretty much hit everything I had written down, so I don't really know that I have anything else to add. No, you're fine. I just, you guys covered it all, so I pretty much am in full agreement with everything you said. I like the heartfelt moment. I love the song. I agree with the jokes. Yeah, I think it's a great episode. 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Gee, Pie Guy, for saying that you've already talked about this so much, and what else do I say? You sure had a lot to say.
Sorry, I talk too much on these podcasts. I'm sorry. As I proceed to talk more. So, you guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So the next up we have, it's a SpongeBob Christmas, and I only sigh because of the title. I gotta say this for the millionth time because I know I'll get a comment. Charlie Brown, the Christmas special, it's called A Charlie Brown Christmas. There's no it's. So if this is a reference to that, it's a terrible reference to that because they didn't get the parody name right. Just throwing that out there. It's a bad name.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. Not when there's already another Christmas. I've already spoken about this too much. I'm sorry. All right.
Maybe it's like an amalgamation of that and It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know.
Maybe, but that would be it. But
that'd be a stretch. Yeah, I know.
It's a Wonder Bob Christmas? No.
It's a Goon on the Moon Christmas. All right.
Who?
Chugga, would you like to explain this episode?
Should Shadow Street go first? He didn't really get to say a lot about the last one.
No, go for it, Shadow.
Do you want me to explain it then?
Yeah, give the summary.
All right. So this is actually a very different animation-wise Christmas special because it's not your typical 2D animation. They decided to go the extra mile and try a new style, which I actually like. I do appreciate it. It was very interesting to watch. It kind of reminded me of like the older Christmas movies that were stop motion. But anyways, with the special, so it's a story about essentially Plankton comes up with this what was it called?
Jerktonium.
It's like your favorite character in the Powerpuff Girls reboot.
Jerktonium. Jerktonium. Yeah, he essentially creates this fruitcake with jerktonium in it, and he tries to use it on SpongeBob, but it doesn't work because, as it's explained later on, SpongeBob has a pure heart that is immune to its effects. But SpongeBob goes around after Plankton sees it fail, and he gives this special fruitcake to all the citizens of Bikini Bottom, and they essentially become these huge jerks, and it kind of like ruins the Christmas spirit. And then the episode kind of revolves around the conflict that comes from that, and then SpongeBob works together with Sandy, and they figure out the cure, and they go through and basically fix the whole problem at the end, and everyone has a happy Christmas.
Aw.
Yeah.
You left out the patchy stuff.
I did.
Let's talk about that first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought the patchy stuff was also interesting because it reminded me of, like, you know, I forget if it's Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the one with the mailman.
I think
it's a reference to that movie. I think that's the movie. You know, it's kind of the similar reference to that character. I think the patchy stuff's pretty good for the most part. There's a few things that tend to not gel with me, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
You can tell his voice is more gravelly. I know that there's like a 10-year gap in between it, but his voice is a lot deeper and more more gravelly.
It's interesting because if like my theory is right that they made patchy for like wraparound segments like that, then they kind of came full circle with this, you know?
I'll say straight up, Patchy's character design looks better in stop motion than in live action. He looks so good.
I love his giant teeth.
Yeah, like his mouth and like chin area. He just looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Go for it, Chugga.
I was gonna say I feel really bad for the postman who was in the back during all those action sequences, and then you see him like pop out alive like toward the end.
Yeah.
Monsters?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was okay. I didn't find it that funny. Or witty or interesting, but I think
good.
that.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
No, like they were passable, I guess. I mean, I didn't really care for them, but they also didn't bother me that much.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Monsters. It's
Aww.
yeah, like I mean, the fork in the road gag is all right, and yeah, like the character designs are fine. Although Potty without strings is just wrong.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna complain about that. It should have had strings.
Like, I almost try to think about how different the special would have been if, like, instead of Patchy and Potty being stop motion, they were live action, but the rest of the special was stop motion.
What if they were 2D animated?
Oh
Oh,
god.
that'd be an interesting twist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it's all right, but like the jokes of like the polar bear eating him and like the characters seeing each other as food. I mean, I've seen these jokes.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, they are short, like you said. Like they're probably the shortest patchy stuff since since Christmas. So, so they don't take away from the episode. Especially because like the segment in the middle, it's like 20 seconds, and then you're back into the episode. So it's all right. And I mean, I should note that this is the first patchy segment since Truth or Square. Sorry, I choked a little saying that.
Patchy live action just kind of like took a big downturn though, because that was the last time that they'd seen it at that point, and then he kind of came back and he was just kind of sitting in a boat in that episode, like when he came back after this. So
yeah. Well, the episode that he comes back after this, what's it called? It's the one where they all get turned into realistic
Feral Friends.
Yes, Feral Friends. They use the joke again, where the characters see each other as food. They did it again. But anyway, it's a SpongeBob Christmas. Okay, no, the patchy stuff is my least favorite part of the episode.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Was this any of you guys' first time watching this?
It was
Yeah.
mine.
Mine as well.
Wow.
Wow. All right, so you guys want to just kind of go down and give like just general impressions of the episode, Shadow?
Yeah, so like I said, I thought the animation was definitely like an interesting choice because I didn't really expect that. I had seen previews of this back when it was like airing, but I kind of just forgot about it until you had mentioned that we'd be talking about this again, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I never watched that." Yeah, I mean, I thought it overall it was okay. I didn't really laugh at a lot of the jokes as much as I would for like the first Christmas special, but I thought the story was fine. I found the whole characters turning into jerks kind of humorous. How they all got these like massive eyebrows and these 5 o'clock shadows, and they just look like really
Apparently,
agitated.
Apparently, I look like a jerk.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
No. I'm joking that the show listen. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with thick eyebrows and forgetting to shave. All right, it happens to everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry, but
no,
no,
you're good.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Let me think. I love the song again. I'm a sucker. I love them. Like, even if they're not, they could be bad, they could be good. I still like Christmas songs. It's just, it's what it is.
I'll tell you an interesting story about the song after you guys are done.
Okay. I also found I was reminded actually of the Powerpuff Girls 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas special
Oh.
in the way that Plankton was like the only good person, like the typical evil villain character was like recognized by Santa's. This is the only person on the nice list. Everyone else has been naughty, and I was like, oh, that's like just like the Powerpuff Girls special.
But
So, I mean,
Santa,
like,
I do like that Santa does qualify it by saying that he's like compared to everyone else. He still doesn't
Yes.
say that he's like good, because obviously, like the other 360 days of the year, Plankton was pretty bad. But Santa's saying comparatively, like, he's got to give someone presents, right? I mean,
yeah, I get, yeah, and it makes sense there. So I thought that was an interesting comparison to make.
Okay. Monsters?
Yeah, so this is my first time watching it as well. I do remember back in the day when, around the time that this episode premiered, the song Don't Be a Jerk kept airing like in between episodes during the commercials. But I didn't like this episode.
Oh!
I didn't.
You didn't take the song to heart
Wow.
then? No.
No,
continue.
yeah, like really the only gag that made me laugh was when SpongeBob was eating the fruit cake and like it zoomed in on the taste buds and they were like woo, and then like all the stuff went into his mouth. But like I didn't find it entertaining. I thought the dialogue was a little preachy, very straightforward, and not as nearly as witty as I hoped it would be. And I think this is an episode that relies really, really heavily on cartoon logic. Just kind of like, yeah, you really have to suspend your belief to get invested into the cartoon.
How so?
I thought so.
In what
Just
way?
in terms of reasoning. Well, like, with like Santa coming and being like, "Oh, Plankton's the only good person." It's like Santa's supposed to be this character that's like all knowing and you know, but like even Santa gets confused for the robot SpongeBob. Like, maybe that's a joke, but like
The show
I don't
does,
know. I didn't find it very funny.
The show does do a lot of stupid humor though, so like I know that you said last time I was on that you haven't really seen a lot of SpongeBob, so maybe that has to do with it, that you're just not used to the typical tone of the show, like we are.
I've seen a lot of seasons 1 through 3, and I think SpongeBob's just clearly like a very different character here than he is back then, because I feel like a lot of the humor is very repetitive. Like pretty much for the first entire portion of the episode, he just walks everywhere going fa la 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 la, and it's like, I don't know, it got irritating for me, and kind of like you mentioned in early SpongeBob, he's kind of he gives the impression that he might be smart but acting dumb, but I just feel like he's just really 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 dumb and doesn't have any sort of like, you know, inner hidden intelligence.
Yeah, but that's I mean, that's a lot of episodes.
The character's very inconsistent even in the early episodes, because if I want to bring up idiot plots from the first few seasons, I could bring up, you know,
That's true.
I could bring up Wormy, I could bring up Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4, where like SpongeBob is considerably like less intelligent or more intelligent in some episodes than others.
Oh yeah.
I guess I just don't like dumb SpongeBob.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I very much miss when every so often he was like kind of mundane human person buying kelpo at the store. It's interesting, monsters.
He reminds me of Sheen Estevez.
oh no, don't. Planet Sheen Estevez?
Yes, that
Sheen of Planet Sheen. Well, no, actually, it matters. Does he remind you of Sheen from Planet Sheen or Sheen from Jimmy Neutron?
Planet Sheen.
Oh,
dirty!
Oh man,
you filth.
It's only slight. But
all right, well, and one of the big changes to the recast in 2019, getting a new co-host.
if there's anybody that knows about Planet Sheen, it's me.
No, we want less Planet Sheen on the podcast.
I mean, I'm sure there's some episode that recycles a plot from Jimmy Neutron you could use.
Oh God, no. No, but that's interesting. It's interesting, monsters. Well, I'll let Chugga give his general impressions.
Well, I'm with you that it's less funny than Christmas Who. Christmas Who was loads more jam-packed with the humor, whereas this only had a few laugh-out-loud funny moments for me.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah. The animation is fantastic. They captured the feeling that stop motion should have. It didn't feel like a one-time thing. It felt very natural. They got people who clearly knew what they were doing. I like all the little details and texture on things. It doesn't feel too busy, but there's still just so much detail going on, and I feel like I feel like if I were to watch it again, there'd be more things I wouldn't notice, because I was specifically looking in the background for stuff. And
who said that in a review?
I was saying that I was specifically looking in the background, and then there were a couple times where I wanted to see something again, and I'd rewind it, and I would see little things. So I feel like I haven't noticed everything there is to notice about it, and it's really good that they do that for something they're going to be airing again and again every year. A minor thing about the episode that I thought was really funny, and I probably wouldn't have found it as funny if I wasn't on for this episode of this podcast, is that littering as the worst offense in Bikini Bottom came back, because on Plankton's list of naughty deeds, it's on there twice and is the #1 item on the list. So just like, that came back.
Also, Chugga, how does this stack up to the Yarn Yoshi shorts?
The Yarn Yoshi shorts. Do you want me to actually compare them?
I was just mentioning that you're currently doing a Let's Play where you have these little stop motion things at the end that are kind of like, they look a little like the SpongeBob.
I guess a little bit, yeah. I mean, everything's made of yarn, but yeah. If I can give the humor any credit, I will say that Patrick is really good in this episode, and it's probably the most funny he's been in a while.
He's kept to very small role.
Yeah, he's used sparingly. When he shows up, he's pretty funny. I'd say overall, like, I think Patrick is more funny in this episode, even if the episode itself is not more funny. But even if it's not as funny as Christmas Who, I think it is more impressive from just the spectacle of the music to the animation. Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas is a great song, and I like the message of, don't all come together and be happy. It's just, don't be a jerk, be accepting of other people, and, you don't have to... I like that message a lot. And then I guess as one last point is, who doesn't love John Goodman? His performance is great in everything he does, really, and he's a good Santa Claus.
Yep. And once again, we have creepy Santa.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think you really touched on it, Chugga. The thing is that, like, I 100% agree that this is not as funny an episode of Christmas Who. I still find parts of it funny. The Jello SpongeBob cracks me up every time. Like, I don't know why. I just like that joke that she pulls down the curtain and it's just Jello. That's how they choose to represent SpongeBob's inner workings. There's Plankton has a little butt wiggle when he jumps up to get something. There's another shot where Plankton is laughing, and it's just like they just have the Plankton puppet in hand and they're like shaking it. I 100%, 1,000% agree that this is, every time I watch it, I notice something new. You know what I noticed this time? At the end, when SpongeBob's singing his song, and he trips on the toothpaste, he brushes the teeth of the kid who earlier in the episode, the jerk Santa says has bad breath. So, like, that's
deep narratives.
It's totally minute detail. That doesn't really matter, but, like, that's something. And, like, I adore this design. I know it's, like, kind of controversial. There are people who really don't like it, and I understand it's different. But, like, I would much rather have this than, like, just some really sleek looking, like, claymation, like, which there's nothing wrong with claymation, especially if it's sleek, but it's just kind of like, I've seen a lot of claymation. You don't see as much this kind of stop motion, especially not now. Like recently, I mean, Aardman Films has done a decent amount of films. Like, it's not like super commonplace to see claymation, but it's not as much as you see like this kind of stop motion animation.
Did you watch the making of documentary that was in the extras?
I must have at some point, but I didn't recently. Did you see anything cool?
Well, you saying that, it brings up that they mentioned the reason why they chose this style of animation was they wanted everything to look like it was found objects, because Bikini Bottom is shipwrecks that the sea creatures have repurposed into everyday objects, and the show has that look, so they wanted it to look very messy and didn't want it to look too clean.
Wow.
That makes sense.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good touch, and it showed that they really understood the source material.
You can tell a lot of the backgrounds look just kind of like ragged pieces of metal put together.
The chum bucket's an actual rusty bucket. It doesn't. It looks a lot less clean than it does in the actual show.
So about the song was actually written before the episode. Tom Kenny wrote it, in fact, and that's why he has a writing credit on the episode. He did not write the episode in any way, but he wrote the song that inspired the episode. And yeah, so that's kind of like neat that they built an entire episode around that key song.
Turned out better than the best day ever, I'll tell you that.
very, very true. Also similar story. But yeah, that's something interesting about that. Another thing, they couldn't do SpongeBob with the helmet on in stop motion, so that's why he's not wearing one in the Tree Dome. This also aired first on CBS before it aired on Nickelodeon
with no patchy segments.
Yep. So there's your trivia. But yeah, no, I think it has so much personality. I love the story. Like it's tough because it's like everything I love about this one, most of the things I love about this one is still in Christmas Who. Like I like the story pretty much equally across both. I like Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas and the song from Christmas Who pretty much equally. Like I think maybe this one has a little leg up because it has two other pretty cool songs. I like Santa's eyes, especially when it has like disturbing Santa watching them. Like I thought that's a kind of funny gag and a cool way to lead into the episode. And then the Fruitcake song is pretty cool too. And I like the story. I like how interesting it is how like Plankton comes up with this scheme and then it doesn't work because it's SpongeBob, but then SpongeBob goes and sends out the fruitcakes anyway. Like, they could have just had Plankton distributing them, but it kind of is more interesting to have the main character basically cause the problem unwittingly while trying to do something kind.
It also leads to Sandy's just like, you took food from Plankton and fed it to everyone.
Uh-huh.
That was a good one. I also like Sandy's angry design on that note, just how her angry eyebrows look. It's really funny. Sorry.
Her 5 o'clock shadow looks really good.
I thought that performance was good too.
Well, which performance, Monsters?
Well, Sandy when she was angry, because like obviously they had to convey like certain details to move on the plot with her like doing the whole thing and like putting the fruitcake in there and then having the lyrics form and kind of, you know, explaining the whole situation to SpongeBob, but she still kind of maintained that kind of saying it in an angry tone. So I thought that was done well.
I mean, did you guys notice it goes by fast, so maybe not, but like the Jello is up there, but like the best joke in the episode is when SpongeBob is de-transforming everyone and it cuts to Squidward and nothing happens.
Yes. I legitimately cracked a smile when I saw that. That was funny.
That one's really good.
And another small one that I like is the Krusty Krab sign falling on Mr. Krabs and him being like dusting himself off like, oh, I'm okay, and then the thing snaps shut and gets him.
About that, does that mean that this entire time for however many seasons the Krusty Krab sign has been alive?
Oh, I didn't even think about it like that.
Isn't that creepy?
Wow. It's no more creepier than a crab setting up a restaurant serving Krabby Patties inside a crab trap. I'm a little surprised you don't like this, Monsters.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I mean, because like, not to, but like I what I love most about it is just appreciating the artistry of it. Like I said, I think I would like this episode if it was just a 2D animated episode, because I do like the story and I like the songs. But it's like the artistry really kind of steps it up for me, and I don't know, you're usually a snob, so I figured you'd like that too.
No, I like yeah. I like the animation and I like the art design, but I mean, I guess that can only do so much for me. Like it and this is kind of like a whole thing when it comes to criticizing something, but like it's kind of that thing where like you watch it and you have to judge it on its entertainment value, but also like you also have to look at the effort and what went into it, because you know some people like to take that into account
depending
too.
on how, not everyone, but that is a style of reviewing, correct?
Because it's clear that a lot of effort really did go into it. Stop motion animation is very tedious.
I can't imagine how long this took to make.
Yeah.
Another thing pretty cool is that it's got like a decent a little mini action sequence at the end. Like it's kind of like a video game boss battle, basically, where SpongeBob is in the little vehicle circling around shooting the air vents, or the probably not air, the whatever vents to malfunction the robot. Like that's straight up video game boss fight. Like SpongeBob shoot, like I'm pretty sure I did something like that in Battle for Bikini Bottom with a giant SpongeBob or something. All right, you guys ready to move on?
I do have a story about my experience watching this, if there's time for that.
Go for it, Chugga.
Okay, so the digital release of this episode was really weird. So I'd never seen it before tonight, and it's a season 8 episode that's 22 minutes long, right? You can't buy it as a standalone episode on iTunes. In the season 8 package, it goes up to episode 25. This is episode 26. They sold it as a feature-length movie, which, you know, the definition of feature-length is 45 minutes, and it has to be that long, I guess, to be uploaded to iTunes or whatever. So you might wonder how they achieved this when it's only a 22-minute special. Well, I have some facts for you. So they slowed down the credits by 50%, so it's like do.
Wow.
To like pad out the time. And then after the credits are over, they tacked on Extreme Spots and Squirrel Record.
Get out.
To make it
What a
45
scam.
minutes long.
What a scam!
Wow.
Yeah,
That's bad. That's bad. Because I knew it wasn't on iTunes with season 8. Because when I do the reviews, I buy the whole season on iTunes, whatever, and then it's not there. So I had to, years ago when it first came out, there was like a 2-pack where it came with like Christmas Who as a DVD and It's a SpongeBob Christmas, and it's like $10 at Walmart or whatever. And I gave away the one for Christmas Who because I have the season 2 set. So I watched it on the DVD, and it is always a huge pain because anytime I need to marathon season 8 or like reference this episode, it's great to have stuff on iTunes because I can just easily bring it up on the computer without having to load up a disc or whatever. But I have to go find this stinking disc and put it in because Nickelodeon got really greedy with this one.
No, it's absolutely like a scam. Like you go to buy it, and it's like it says like to own $14.99, runtime 53 minutes, and I'm thinking,
oh
wow,
my goodness,
this is a movie. Like, wow, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. And then I go to watch it, and then no, I know you, Pie Guy, are not the biggest fan of those 2 episodes, and I agree with you on Squirrel Record, but I think Extreme Spots...
we've been there.
I think Extreme Spots is at least good for a watch, so maybe if you don't have that episode, then it maybe might be it's not worth that much,
but that's...
Maybe for like a rental or something?
Huh. Those are season 9 episodes, too. Yeah, I guess this one aired
well, it's because this is the final episode of season 8, and those are the first 2 of season 9.
Right, but that is still... It's bizarre because, well, I mean, obviously, whoever did this was just looking for the easiest possible thing to make money off of. But, like, reasonably, you could have put Survival of the Idiots, Christmas... Well, I don't know, Christmas Who, maybe.
I don't know, like,
on there.
You could have done Snowball Effect. You could have done Krabs a la Mode. Like, there's a lot of snowy-themed episodes of the show that are great. And they chose Extreme Spots and Squirrel Record for a Christmas special.
Wow, just
it's completely strange, and yeah, they tacked on those episodes to make the video file over 40 minutes so that they were able to say feature-length movie and sell it in the movie store instead of the TV show store.
Thank you for that warning. Wow.
Buyer beware when wanting to watch this episode again.
Oh, I guess one last interesting note that you guys probably wouldn't know is that this was the second episode in HD.
Oh yeah,
because apparently I can't help myself but reference Truth or Square a million times. That was the first.
The credit sequence wasn't. That switched back to 4x3.
And actually, into their HD era, they still had the 4x3 credits. But yeah, no, season 9 started doing it full time, but this was in season 8, so it's interesting. All right, you guys ready to move on now?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Okay.
This was a thing.
We had the idea. Me and Monsters had the idea to get Shadow and Kuro on again, and we wanted to do like a special thing. And so, like, what's episodes that people love that we could compare for Christmas? Like, okay, let's do Christmas Who, and It's a SpongeBob Christmas. And then, like, the week after we planned this, we had the news where it was like Nickelodeon announces there's a new SpongeBob Christmas special, and we were like, fine, throw it in there. We'll make it super special. And then, like, last week, instead of people being excited, I got a lot of comments that were like, it's not really a Christmas special. And it's like, all right, well, we're still going to talk about it. Think of it as a bonus. Think of it as Extreme Spots on the end of It's a SpongeBob Christmas iTunes release. I actually, based upon what people said, I thought it was going to be less Christmassy than it was, because Santa's in the entire third act. It's not like he shows up in the last minute. He is there. It's not a Christmas episode or special, right? Like, would you guys agree with that?
Definitely not.
Yes.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah,
one.
it's
but it is still enough that, like, if you were to put in a SpongeBob Christmas compilation, you would put Christmas Who, It's a SpongeBob Christmas, probably Snowball Effect, Survival of the Idiots, Crab a la Mode, and this episode. Maybe Wishing You Well if you wanted to really stretch it. All right. You guys get that?
claustrophobic. Yeah.
My man. Best part of that episode.
True.
Aside from the song. But yeah, no. So I guess Chugga, would you like to explain this one?
I don't really know. This is an interesting one right away. So it's a bit of a spiritual successor to Sandy's Rocket of all things, and I guess also Mooncation a little bit. Yeah. So it's a bit of a successor to those episodes where the entire tree dome turns into a rocket. Sandy is hosting a field trip where SpongeBob, Pearl, and the new Squidina all go together. Squidward ends up getting taken along for the ride because he's a delivery man that SpongeBob ordered to bring Krabby Patties. They go up to the moon. Squidward ends up getting separated from the group. They don't even know he's there, and he's just kind of off having his own adventure on the moon while they're trying to do sciencey stuff. And Santa Claus is there because it's the only place where he can get sleep. And so hilarity ensues, and they blow up the moon trying to take off from it, and SpongeBob ends up becoming the moon.
my last girlfriend was the moon. Oh boy, yeah.
Someone needs to mod Majora's Mask to have SpongeBob be the moon.
No, but it's the SpongeBob face from the creepy face from the season 5 episode where
Who Bob What Pants?
Yes, the creepy face. It's that face stretched over a 3D model.
SpongeBob's actually the name of the episode, but
yes. An episode having 2 titles. What? Never. Thanks, Nickelodeon. Because this was called Space Bob Mary Pants or something, which again, it's not a Christmas episode. That's like a real big stretch. Honestly, like I'm fine with them airing it as a new episode in Christmas and even like kind of advertising as a Christmas episode, but changing the title to that's just misleading.
On iTunes, it was just straight up called Mary Pants. There was no Space Bob in it at all. It was just Mary Pants.
Wow.
That was all.
It
was Mary Pants, and the thumbnail was Christmassy.
Someone
clickbait Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon and Apple have combined to form the ultimate version of greed. Okay, so yeah. Well, all right. Well, so first of all, I must preface that I am going to be talking about this episode a little bit. So if you care about me spoiling my opinions on season 11 before the review, I guess skip to the end of this video.
Spoiling the season finale too.
It's probably not in production order. I don't think it is actually, but at any rate, my opinion may change. I've only seen this episode once, so just fair warning on that. But yeah, if you don't know, season 11 of SpongeBob, again, without saying too much, I don't know. It's not even controversial for me to say this. It's weird. It's a weird season of SpongeBob. Like, regardless of how you feel about it, good or bad, regardless of how I feel about it, good or bad, it's weird. This is the episode. This is the season with cuddly hugs and oh my goodness. Have you any of you guys seen any other season 11 episodes?
I saw Spot Returns.
Yeah, okay.
Which was great.
That's kind of weird. Well, this is also the season with Doodle Dimension, so they bring back Doodle Bob. But yeah, this is a very odd season. So despite how weird this was, it really didn't feel too out of place for what I've seen of season 11 thus far. What did you guys think? Let's do first impressions again, because that worked out well. Shadow?
All right, so I'll be completely honest. I knew nothing at all about this episode before watching it. So I didn't hear anyone's opinions, or I had no idea that Santa didn't even show up until 15 minutes in. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching this episode and I'm like, so what does this have to do with Christmas? When like, is Santa going to show up? Are there songs? Where's the snow? Like, why are they going to the moon?
Well,
what does
the
this
snow
have
was
to
in
do
the
with
asteroid
winter?
belt. Weren't you paying attention?
Yeah, for like 2 seconds.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then it melted immediately. And I was just like, what is even going on? And then all of a sudden Santa just pops up and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. I don't know. I did not expect this at all. So for me to just, it felt like a bait and switch, really. Because, I didn't think the episode was like the worst thing ever, but I was disappointed, I guess, because I expected something and I got something that was subpar.
Fucking Nickelodeon.
Yeah, true. I mean, I have not followed the most recent SpongeBob stuff since I think like I stopped at season 6. So
this is very par for the course that every special is all like, "OMG, Patrick dies in the new episode," and then you watch it. It's an episode about Patrick jumping on a bed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So monsters, you?
Yeah, I thought this episode was okay. I guess in your terms, I'd probably refer to it as meh. The first thing I absolutely want to point out, a little bit off topic. I thought that the name Blistina was so bad. At least that somewhat resembles the name Christina. Squidina?
Yeah.
What type of name? Like that throws the Blistina criticism right out of the water because like this is just.
I mean, the episode's right out of the water.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, if I didn't see this episode, when Chugga was describing it, I would have assumed that Squidina was like some sort of disguise that Squidward was wearing.
Right, and is she?
Yeah.
The way that this episode portrays her almost makes her seem like she's like going to become like a recurring fix in the show because she has some like voice roles. Maybe she's just like a guest star, but like she. There's nothing that makes her kind of stand out as like a special guest star. She just kind of feels like
I thought
a part
that
of the crew.
too. That she seemed like a pretty fleshed out character for just being a one-time deal. And were they trying something to see if they wanted to bring her back again?
Possibly. I mean, for some reason, the show hates giving Pearl consistent friends. So
I didn't. Speaking of which, I just didn't like Squidina's character. Like she just felt very one note.
Well, that's the whole. Okay, so.
She's supposed to be a contrast to Pearl, first and foremost.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Chugga, you give your just kind of impressions.
Not good.
Oh,
okay. I wouldn't say not good though, but it was very much a bait and switch. When you asked me to do this, my response was, okay, letting you know up front, I might not be the most qualified because it's been a while since I've seen Christmas Who. And I'm completely blanking on whatever the third Christmas special is because it only aired like 2 weeks ago, so I hadn't even heard of it before.
I'd never seen it either, just to be fair, until an hour ago.
And when you responded to that message, all you said was "Goons on the Moon," and I thought that was you like saying some kind of expletive in frustration that I was the only one who got back to you, and I'd never heard of it. I thought you were just all like "Goons on the Moon" in response to me not knowing what it was. Because I never for a second did I think that was the name of a Christmas special or that would be the episode title.
I could imagine that's just Spider-Verse, like Spider Noir. I could imagine someone noir being like, Goons on the Moon.
Yeah. It sounds kind of like G-rated expletive, just like, I hate to tell you this, but I've never heard of that. Goons on the Moon. So that's what I thought it was. I started the episode and I thought, okay, pretty decent setup. All right, sure. Okay. And then as I kept watching, I kept being like, is this really, does this have anything to do with Christmas? Because I brought it up to you that, that's a season 11 episode and your season review isn't up yet. And, I was sure you knew that though. And I was just like, I'm surprised that you're doing this. And you're like, well, I thought we'd do something special for the holidays. And as time was going on, my thought was, is he just wanting to review a season 11 episode that doesn't really have anything to do with Christmas? And I keep sitting there and no Christmas stuff shows up. And I think another theory that I developed partway through the episode was that iTunes put the wrong episode with the wrong title and that Mary Pants or whatever was, some other episode that wasn't this one and it was mislisted or something and I'd have to get my money back. That was another theory.
That's a possibility.
Because the episode title card wasn't consistent either though, so I thought that too. I thought it filled the time well. There was some pretty funny stuff going on. I liked how Squidward kind of had his own adventure going on separate from everyone else, and I think in an episode that is longer than your average episode, they should definitely have multiple plots going on, and I thought this was a very natural way to do that. Squidward, I think, was the best part of the episode by far. The setting and the backgrounds were really nice looking. I would say it's a very good looking episode, if nothing else, but I wouldn't say that it was a fantastic or a great episode that I would definitely always go back and watch every Christmas season or even whenever I want to watch some good SpongeBob. I don't think it really fills that purpose, either purpose.
First of all, I'm sorry. I should have maybe given more context. I could just imagine you sitting here like Man, I'm out of the kindness of my heart. Last minute, I'm taking time out of my day to do this, and he trolls me by giving me some random episode to watch.
I was just kind of watching it confused, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'll do it, and I'll write down my notes of what I think of this as I go along, but I was very confused going in. I can't imagine what, like, a little kid who's the target audience, you know, being told, like, oh, hey, we're going to watch a SpongeBob Christmas special, and then it's this.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, like, Christmas rated, like, obviously this is the worst of the three in terms of just Christmassy. Like, that's just, I don't even have to ask you guys. We're all in agreement on that.
It's absolutely the weakest episode of the three.
Yeah.
So, let me just say, it's episodes like this are the reason why I watch these things 3 times, because Goons on the Moon is one of those episodes that it really feels like it needs further examination. This is going to sound weird, but it's like it needs further examination as to whether I think this is funny or not. Like, there are some jokes that I'm just, don't hate, but, like, didn't get a laugh out of me. Like,
I'd say this special had the joke that probably made me laugh the most.
Of the 3 episodes?
Ooh, okay.
Go for it,
This
man.
we gotta hear.
Oh.
It's where Sandy like tells SpongeBob to like go off and do his thing, and then she's in the rocket and she's like, now I need to figure out the moon's gravitational pull on my nuts.
Yes.
All right.
I also like SpongeBob's way of telling if life was intelligent by removing the head and seeing if it had any brains.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nuts thing is it's funny because the way Sandy says it, it's clearly meant to be a double entendre.
Yes.
Like, it's not just like you know, I gotta go see gravitational effects on these nuts. Oh God, no, not like that. Don't say it like that either. No. But yeah, no, that all right, monsters, that's true. That is a very funny joke. Clearly you guys have never seen the episode with the crusty wieners.
No.
Oh no, sorry, the crusty dogs. The crusty dogs. Oh no. Oh no. Oh.
There you are, you two poop makers.
They use the moon joke a lot in this
Bubble
one.
Bass shows
Like
up.
with Bubble Bass. No, not that
What
type
is it
of
with
moon.
current SpongeBob and showing close-ups of butts on glass? Why? This is the second season in a row where we got a special where there's a close-up, like, grotesque. Actually, no,
and it's a season finale.
No, sorry, 3. If you include Salsa and Basilicus with Patrick's just licking of Plankton's butt.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
don't
that's
remind me.
3 seasons of protruding butt cheeks.
It's 2 season finales in a row too.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that. I'll be honest with you. I didn't find that funny. That creeped me out.
I
Yeah,
didn't
no.
either.
Off topic, I didn't mind it so much in the last time that it happened because you didn't actually have to get to see it, but in this one you did.
Yeah. Okay, so back to what Monsters was saying, because I did want to talk about this. Both Pearl and Squidina. I mean, at least Pearl is a recurring character on the show, so at least there is kind of that sense of familiarity, that sense of like, oh, you're doing something with this character for once. Squidina, like, I didn't hate her, but like I just found that she didn't add anything, and Pearl didn't add anything either. Really, they have this dynamic of like, I'm a cheerleader, I am a nerd, and that's it. That's as far as it goes. That's like every joke about them. I guess Pearl has some fat jokes in there too, as par for the course for Pearl. But no, like that's why they're there, and that feels like the most obvious point of just kind of like complete filler. Like I agree with you, Chugga, that Squidward's side story was cool. Like Squidward had kind of his own journey. There was a decent amount of gags that got out of that were kind of separate. Like Sandy and SpongeBob were like doing science and like searching for life and whatever. Squidward is it's the usual Squidward shtick of bad stuff happening to him. But like on the moon, they're kind of original with it.
His trying to make sense of everything was pretty funny.
Right. It's cool they keep him in the dark for a lot of the episode. But yeah, no, I mean, how did you guys feel about Squidina and Pearl? I know monsters, but
I didn't really care for them either. I felt like they were very one note, kind of static. Didn't really do much for me. I didn't laugh at them. I don't know. They were just kind of there.
I didn't feel like they added much or really subtracted much. I get that they needed more characters there to fill things out a bit more, and I guess they do kind of get their own plot that does go somewhere, but you can see it coming from a mile away what it is. I don't actively dislike Squidina, and I think that maybe they could give her another go if they just give her a better story or whatever, but yeah, for this, it was very clear that they were there to fill time.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd really take. I mean, like, what the positive thing I will say about it is that it's nice. It's nice that it wasn't like Sandy taking SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, and Squidward, because like that the four of them as a group, like they make a great group, but it's just kind of like that's the group we see in Truth or Square. And in like a lot of other episodes, it's either like the three of Patrick, SpongeBob, Squidward, or the four of them with Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs gets just a lot, so it's nice to see trying to do something else, but it didn't really pay off. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who would have really been made better, and it does kind of highlight that SpongeBob doesn't have the best in terms of like tertiary characters that recur very often.
I mean, Pearl had a really good appearance the previous season. I'm just saying.
That is true,
and like it felt like they were getting better with them.
Oh, I guess Sandy could have taken Larry. Like, well, so they do this like it's kind of like a Girl Scout thing, but like it didn't have to be that.
No.
Like, I mean, SpongeBob is there, so it's obviously not like specifically Girl Scout, but it's like a scout kind of thing. But they could have called it anything. They could have been like the science club or whatever, and Larry could have been there as the jock that didn't understand science or something, and maybe that would have played a little better
than cheerleader not understanding science, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also funny too because Pearl's not popular in every single, like almost every one of her appearances about how unpopular she is. So
of course.
She might be a cheerleader, but like that doesn't. She's not a stereotypical cheerleader in any way. Like I don't know.
I decided to put the guest star theory to the test to see if Squidina was modeled after some kind of celebrity, but no, she is Karen's voice actor.
Oh,
so there's nothing there. She's voiced by a regular.
That's kind of I would have kind of expected this episode to have Plankton and Karen in it for some reason. Like they follow Sandy to the moon to like blow it up or something weird. Like I feel like that's
a much more natural way for it to get blown up.
Well, yeah. So the structure of this episode basically is they have jokes where they're in space in zero gravity. They get toothpaste in their peanut butter. Oh, sorry, wrong one. But then they land on the moon. They jokes, and then like it's like not till halfway in that the actual story happens, and the story is that the moon gets broken or gets pulled out of gravitation, which causes the water level to lower, which is like cool. Like that's kind of a clever use of like a real life science thing as a plot point in SpongeBob. But it's kind of late in the episode to really start doing that, to be honest. I don't know. Like, what did you guys feel about the flow of this?
I didn't feel like it was too slow or anything. It did kind of keep moving forward. Before we go onward, I have something to add about Squidina that is on topic with something we were wondering. Okay. As I was doing digging, there is a tweet from one of the cast and crew that Squidina is going to appear again as a major character in season 12.
I figured, yeah.
This is meant to be a debut of a recurring regular.
Oh.
Not
I
a
mean,
fan.
That's bizarre too, because they kind of give her. Well, I hate to call it this because it's basically a triangle, but a character arc. In that, like, she ends it being friends with Pearl, whereas if she was a recurring character, I would have maybe expected them.
Maybe they realized Pearl actually having consistent friends was overdue.
Maybe.
But
why would you call it Squidina when you already have a Squidward? Like, that's...
Also, Squidina looks more like a squid than Squidward.
Well, Squidward's just an octopus.
Right.
But anyway, no, I felt like the episode flowed fine. I felt like it was, I didn't feel like it was slow, at least. I can at least say that much.
Yeah, I was not bored with this episode the first time through. Now that could very much change on the second time. Shadow?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think it didn't really seem to drag too much, but I felt like, I didn't really find the first half too exciting because I was just questioning it the whole
Yeah.
time. I wasn't really. I feel like if I went back and watched it again, I might be able to pick up on a few things I didn't notice because I already know what to expect. Um, but I definitely think that, it really did pick up when SpongeBob accidentally launched the rocket and pulled the moon out of
Yeah.
its orbit. I felt like that's where things started to be like, okay, well, now this is interesting to see, because I specifically remember when the one fish character like moves out of the water and he instantly just starts like frying up, and it's like, oh, okay, wow,
Excuse
dang,
me.
that's yeah, it's like, oh, ouch.
Yeah. I guess I kind of wish that happened earlier. Is because like I mean the structure of a usual SpongeBob episode, like 11 out of 11 minutes, it's like 2 minutes ish is the setup, and it's just like joke with the setup. You get into the actual story. Once you're actually into the story, then you just do a bunch of gags with whatever set piece you got, and then you like wrap up the story. And like that's kind of the arc that most of the episodes go on. Chocolate Nuts is a good example. They have the setup scene, then they're just selling chocolate, and it's gag. That's the story, and then they have a way to wrap it up. But with this, it's kind of like a bunch of gags just about the moon that aren't really tied into anything. We don't
Yes.
we don't have a good reason for them being there, I guess is the thing. Like Sandy is like gonna do science, but it would have been nice if maybe like Sandy was like there's like reports that there's something wrong on the moon, or like there's been sightings of an alien, or like something, some sort of hook to kind of start the story a lot earlier than it actually happens, because there's not really any stakes or anything. Not that SpongeBob needs high stakes, but just kind of a, I don't know, some sort of plot line. And it has it a little bit with Squidward, where you're kind of wondering where his story is going to go. But yeah.
And it makes me curious, wondering whether the whole tie-in with Santa Claus and Christmas was like a last minute thing, or if it was intended from the beginning. Because to me, at least, he felt very much kind of like a forced Deus ex machina.
Yeah. Well, I liked how in the end they try about 3 or 4 different ways to solve the problem. I thought, like, I always like that. Yeah, well, and I like that too. It failed horribly, and Santa was like, "Are you stupid? Like, you're gonna burp the moon back?" Like, because it's SpongeBob, and that would work in SpongeBob. That's the kind of thing. Yeah,
it had me going because it came back, like, because it was brought up earlier in the episode, and then it finally came back, and I'm like, oh, that's what it's for. It's SpongeBob, ha. But then nope.
And I mean, what actually ends up happening is just, it's so weird. It's like, so to Santa, it's kind of ridiculous to like burp the moon back into orbit, but you're gonna use a jackal. What holiday are we in? A Jack in the Box to push them. So that's the non-ridiculous option. And then SpongeBob. Okay, so this was I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty surprised by this. SpongeBob accidentally breaks the moon into a million pieces, and everyone's just kind of like, well, like I kind of expected the episode to just end there and be like, well, those fish are dead. The end.
It seemed like it too.
That's like the Invader Zim ending, or Billy and Mandy type ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I see, I liked, but I get that has nothing to do with Santa, really. Like that's the thing. It's like, you're right, Santa. I like how snarky he is with how their plans failed, but you could have given that to Sandy. That could have been Sandy's job. Sandy has been the one intelligent person, or the snarker, or whatever. But yeah, Santa doesn't. Honestly, I like, it feels like maybe if that was John Goodman, which is not, like, it feels like maybe they booked him, like if that was, like, they could have been like, well, we booked him, we got to put Santa in somehow. But no, that's not what happened. So I don't know who was the guest star on Santa.
Let me see if I can find it.
Mr. Guest Star
I seem to
expert
just be the one to
Chuggaaconroy.
search this stuff. Let's see, Santa Claus. It is Lewis Black.
Oh, right. Nah, I don't know who that is.
He's a stand-up comedian, author, playwright, social critic, and actor.
Well, if he criticizes social behavior, I like him.
He was the voice of Anger in Inside Out.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah, he's a pretty well-known
okay.
figure.
I like
That's
how as
right.
soon as I bring up just like a Disney movie, you guys are just like, oh, I know the crowd.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, like his performance as Santa was fine. Once again, creepy Santa. Santa's creepy. They don't get. I mean, that's good. It's consistency.
It's a recurring thing.
I should also point out that Santa, like the last time we see Santa in it's SpongeBob Christmas, is flying over the moon.
That's good.
That's totally like, if that was the impetus, honestly, I could be like, that's clever. I doubt it. I severely doubt that that's where they got the idea. It kind of reminds me of Futurama, where Santa lives on like Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, the reasoning for Santa being there wasn't good.
No.
Like, honestly, if Santa was like, I don't know if it's like too political, but if Santa was like, oh well, global warming, gotta move somewhere colder, or like I don't know, maybe it's some non-political way to say that.
Global warming is causing the North Pole to melt.
Guest starring Al Gore as Santa Claus.
In this very serial episode of SpongeBob.
Oh goodness.
Santa being there at the very end reminds me of Nightlight.
Yes.
Or just that's not a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode, but they always push it as one. But this is not a Christmas special, but they're pushing it as one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, okay, so like in terms of the story, there are things I like about it. There are jokes that I feel like I'm maybe borderline on. There were some that I liked. Like I liked Squidward getting compressed. I don't know why I found that pretty funny. I think his sounds sold it. Like I didn't like the launch lunch pun the first time, but then when it was a plot point later, I kind of laughed at how just like stupid it was that they made that a plot point. That like Sandy had a lunch button explicitly for some reason.
And she puts it right next to it, and that's the joke.
Yeah.
I like the bits where it was Squidward in that like underground tunnel, and he popped up and he kept seeing different things. Though I will say that there was a few continuity errors in there, because like there's some shots where he's holding the Krusty Krab bag, and there's some shots where
you should blame the storyboard artist, because you can see him. He's in this.
Yeah,
the Wacom Cintiq and everything.
Yeah.
I have to say the debut of Pearl's water helmet didn't disappoint.
Oh, that's a good point.
Even though, she breathes air.
Oh yeah.
They use the helmets very sparingly.
Huh, that's a good point, Chugga.
Yeah. My favorite little detail in the episode was easily that when they're having to break through the space junk and there's all the turbulence, in the space junk, there is Old Bold and Brash. The jar that held Wormy. Wormy is still in it, in space.
No.
And the Foxy Grandpa hat.
Oh, that's great. See, that's good job.
Those are good details, but yeah,
Yes.
it's like blink and you miss it. It's on screen for like a second.
Perfect. Yeah, so I mean, like, you could do much worse for a SpongeBob episode.
It's not horrible or anything. It's just, I wouldn't say it's good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I will say it's not a good Christmas episode, and I will say it's nothing compared to the first two.
I find it just so funny that we're just saying that it's so average, and just Monster said he'd rate it as a meh in your scale, and yet we're going so back and forth of this was good, but this was bad, but this was good, but this was bad, and just seeing that it has such an equal number where every time we name something good, we think of something bad that just kind of offsets it, so it's meh, but not in a boring way.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's weird, and like, weird doesn't always mean good, but at least weird means more interesting than completely boring.
I'm sure it's awful for you whenever there's just like 6 boring episodes in a row and you have to find ways to make it not repetitive.
Yeah.
Also, towards the beginning of the episode, was it just me, or did I hear a reprise of Now That We're Men?
You did. They play it whenever there's like a football type thing happening. It's not because of Now That We're Men.
Is that like a regular thing now?
No.
Only when there's football related things. Not for like the reason the show used it in the first place. That bugs me because Pro was doing a cheerleading thing. So
I'm sure it's just that a sound designer thinks it sounds very sporty.
Yeah, the brass, I can see it.
Sportsy, bold and brass. All right. Let's wrap this up. We're getting long in the tooth here. All right. So, like, in comparison between the three, I guess. Well, all right. In comparison between the two, we can't add the third one really. Well, I guess. All right. We'll do the here. Go back and forth. Of the three, which was your favorite Santa appearance? Rapid fire, Shadow.
Favorite Santa appearance would be It's a SpongeBob Christmas.
Monsters?
Christmas Who.
Chugga?
Christmas Who.
Yeah, I gotta go with Christmas Who.
All
I like John Goodman. No, I like John Goodman too, but all right. And then between the first two, the song from Christmas Who or Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas.
Christmas Who for me.
Christmas Who.
Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas.
Yeah, Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas.
All right.
Beyond
wow. Deadlocked.
No, that's very close. The first one's a funnier song, but like the second one, it's like it's a real song is the thing. Like it's long and it you can play on the radio and it's just kind of like it feels fully realized. Whereas the first one is a song. It's a SpongeBob song as a method to get out jokes, which is good when you're watching it, especially. But when you're just listening to it, I think especially the second one shines a little more. What else? Anything else to compare? I guess we all kind of agree that Christmas Who was the funnier episode.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christmas Who was funnier, but I could see some people, depending on what they liking It's a SpongeBob Christmas better.
Okay. Here's a good one. Which one did you like the most visually of the three? Shadow?
It's a SpongeBob Christmas.
Monsters?
This one's tough.
Because we didn't talk about it, but Goons on the Moon actually did like it is very visually impressive. Not very but it does a lot more than like I like Christmas Who, but like that's 2001 2002 versus 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna say Christmas Who all the way because I just love the aesthetic of season 2.
I was about to
SpongeBob.
say monsters, we're gonna get you to praise It's a SpongeBob Christmas yet, and then you do this crap.
Dang, Chuck.
I know that's very, very controversial.
Nah, like if you feel that way, but I'd have to go with It's a SpongeBob Christmas.
Yeah, I'll go with that too. I was hoping I'd get someone with Goons on the Moon. I don't think it looks better than SpongeBob Christmas, but
no.
All right, and then lastly. Which of these three is your favorite? And both is never an option on the recast. Shadow, as you know, Shadow, you were the one that created that rule.
I am. Yes, I am. Never forget. Never forget. Nah, my favorite's still Christmas Who, all the way.
Okay, Monsters.
Christmas Who, I might have a little bit of nostalgia bias because it used to be a Christmas fixture for me to pop in the SpongeBob Christmas DVD, watch this, Snowball Effect, a few other good episodes, but yeah, no, I love Christmas Who so much.
I'd have to say Christmas Who as well. I think it's just more enjoyable to like sit through, and it also doesn't really like. I guess I don't really rate this against the episode though, but it's kind of also a little bit of brownie points in my book that it wasn't padded out with 2 kind of alright episodes to be feature length so they could sell it for more money. You gave It's a SpongeBob Christmas #1 on your top 5.
Did I?
We're at a crossroads here.
I will, because I'm the one looking everything up, I will look up your own review and see what you said about it.
Well, hey, I put it on the top 5 for that season, not for the whole series.
Yeah, for that season, it was in the top 5.
Yeah. You know what? I am actually going to go with Christmas Who as well. For the simple reason, I do everything logically, and the simple reasoning be I wasn't thrilled with the patchy segments of It's a SpongeBob Christmas. It came down to that. Honestly, right? Because I feel kind of equally in love with Christmas Who and It's SpongeBob Christmas, whereas It's SpongeBob Christmas is more visually impressive. Christmas Who is funnier, so they kind of like balance out in that, and like everything else, I like the songs virtually equally. With Don't Be a Jerk a little more, but if I gotta kind of like come down to the wire, I love the Patchy set. We listed off so many jokes. How many jokes did we lift off from the Patchy segment in Christmas 2? Like 10? Those are all great.
We listed everything in it.
Yeah. And they don't thrill me in It's a SpongeBob Christmas. And just for that fact, I got to go with Christmas 2. But it was close for me.
There you go.
Whew. All right. No trivia this week. We went too long. We're good.
Okay, for sure.
Fair.
I don't want to disrespect more of you guys' time.
You just don't want me to school you at your own show again.
Oh, all right, monsters. Pull up the Wikipedia page. We're doing this five questions.
All right,
Chuck, I was ending this for your sake because I didn't want to take up too much of your life. But here we go.
Here we go.
Just leave it to 5, please, monsters.
Got it.
Shadow, I guess you could play too.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I see. Third wheel. Okay.
I feel like I should just permanently disqualify you from all trivia forever.
Why? Because I'm so good.
All right, first question. The girls encounter a rain that's a
No.
A singular rain.
All right, here we go. 5 questions. I guess
make Shadow start.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so the order is going to be Shadow and then PIEGUY and then Chugga? Does that sound good?
Yeah, do that.
Okay. First episode description. Patrick leads an enthusiastic stranger on a tour of his favorite places in Bikini Bottom. Shadow.
What are we specifying exactly?
Title and season. Do title and season.
Title and season? Crud. Well, if it's anything after season 3, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Rip.
Okay.
I can tell you right now, rip.
All right, PIEGUY?
Yeah, I got nothing.
It's from season 11, you jerk. And the name of it, it's like, I'm just gonna say round Bikini Bottom, but that's not it. This is a Simpsons episode. Chugga.
I'm pretty confident that's not a season 11 episode. I'm pretty confident that's the monster that came to Bikini Bottom.
Okay, none of you are correct. PIEGUY was partially correct. It's season 11. But
it's got a Twilight Zone parody.
The episode is called No Pictures, Please.
Yeah, you'd like that, monster. It's a Twilight Zone parody.
You know how much I love the Twilight Zone.
Oh God, yes, every week. You haven't mentioned it in like 6 episodes. All right, question 2. We're all losers.
Look, everybody, I'm a loser.
Okay, question number 2. Mrs. Puff tries a new method to get SpongeBob to pass his driving test.
Oh, you're the worst. I think I know which one it is, but
Gosh, this is almost as bad as that Rust Bucket one.
3 thieves steal the rope bucket.
Gosh, I basically have what, a 1 in 12 shot here.
I know what season it's from.
Season.
I think. I mean, I guess it could be.
I'll go with season 9. I guess. I have no idea what it's called though. I don't know.
All right. Well, Shadow is right. It is a season 9 episode.
Wow, I got lucky.
It's the one where Mrs. Puff takes SpongeBob out on the road, and it is called. It's not Tudor Sauce. Tudor Sauce is with Mr. Krabs. I don't know the name of it. I don't know. I'm sorry, fans. I'm sorry. Chugga, what is it? It's
on the tip of my tongue. I know which one it is too.
Just for reference, it's 1:24 in the morning.
I know that it's season 9. I'm gonna call it Highway Star.
Okay. None of you are correct. The episode is called Bumper to Bumper.
It was season 9 though, right?
Yes. Am I divvying out points for season or no?
No,
Okay.
You got to get both. We're still all big in pink.
All right. Next one. When Patrick eats Krabby Patties without paying, Mr. Krabs puts him to work in the restaurant to pay it back.
Oh, that was
However,
easy.
he only causes wreak havoc. Does that no grammar? Hello?
He only
up the
causes
restaurant and makes it explode.
What?
Man, Man, I'm not doing hot. Season 5. I don't know the title.
Dude, what is it? You're right. It's season 5. It's called Pat No Pay.
Oh, okay. I have
Pat
seen
No
that one,
Pay,
at
season
least.
5.
All right. That puts Pie Guy and Chugga on the board, both with 1 point each.
Thank you for that easy one.
Yeah, that one I definitely know. I can remember that episode just from the sole line of, "Oh, I'm paying for it, all right."
The title is like the only thing I care about in that episode.
The line's the only thing that I thought was funny in it, so it's easy to remember.
Okay, this one's pretty funny. After Squidward's day is ruined yet again by SpongeBob and Patrick while he's trying to watch public television, he rides his bike into a cement mixer and emerges as a hideous-looking, unusual creature that SpongeBob and Patrick adopt.
That's not a funny episode.
No.
Kelpie G, are you kidding me?
Shut up, monsters. Get out of here. That's 2 seconds in an otherwise miserable episode. LPG doesn't have a great track record. All right, Shadow Pass.
Okay, I've seen this episode. I don't know the season, but I know the title. Dang it.
Give me your best shot.
All right, so this is okay, I'm trying to think like relative of when I saw it, what season it would be. I don't think it was 5. Was it 4? And it's The Thing, right? I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see.
Shadow is correct. It is the season 4 episode, The Thing.
It is season 4, The Thing, already what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You're all correct.
It was either 4 or 5.
Good guess.
So you have watched Beyond season 3.
Yeah, you saw the best one.
I can see why you stopped.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. What's the score?
The score is Pie Guy, you have 2, Chugga, you have 2, Shadow, you have 1. So in the event that both Chugga and Pie Guy get this wrong, Shadow, you can tie.
I don't think that's gonna happen if I'm going first.
You're like the reigning trivia champion in like all of the recasts. Like
You can be a mislead too. You can be like, well, I think the title is this. That's what I usually do.
and then you get it wrong anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then I get it wrong anyway.
Come on.
Okay. SpongeBob has difficulty falling asleep while Patrick struggles to stay awake.
First half of that.
Nope, I don't even know. I couldn't even make a guess. Season 7. Season
Tapping out?
7, that's my guess.
All right. Pie Guy?
The Patrick part kind of trips me up because I don't remember that, but I believe this is the season 8 episode in Sponge-iac.
I was going to go with season 8 in Sponge-iac.
All right. And the correct answer is in Sponge-iac.
Hey, Chugga, do you remember Patrick in that episode? He's in there.
No, the thing I remember the most is the title card.
Huh. Oh yeah, and the title itself.
So yeah, Pie Guy and Chugga win, tied at 3. I don't think there needs to be a tiebreaker.
No, and this episode.
Yeah.
All right, but
I'm sorry, I just had to get that last dig in, and I didn't think you'd actually go for it.
It was fun.
Yeah. But no, on a light note, seriously, this has been a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you.
Merry Christmas,
agree.
you guys. Merry Christmas to the viewers of the recast.
And if you don't celebrate Christmas, then have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good day off, hopefully, if you're not working.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, Shadow, for being here, and thank you for being our recurring guest in 2018. We love having you on.
Yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure every single time.
Aw. And thank you so much, Chuggaaconroy. Like,
Yes.
you're amazing.
Well, thank you for having me on. I guess I'm also a recurring guest in 2018 by definition.
Watch his Yoshi's Woolly World Let's Play. It's good. It's good chill stuff. Gather around on Christmas with Grandma and watch Yarn Yoshi.
We have a really Christmassy stage coming up in like a few days, actually.
You mean a few days ago because it's going up.
Well,
Sunday.
maybe it'll be on the same day. It's toward the end of World 5, and like World 5 starts tomorrow.
Well, people of the future, I hope that Steven Universe episode was pretty good. And Kuro, We hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to over-exaggerate it here. He just got sick like one day. I mean, he's probably fine.
Probably. Keyword.
All right, yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. PIEGUYRULZ out.
Catch you guys next time.
Bye.
So long.